Other level?
She tried to get out of this by faking her own death and faking her children's death.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Steve Leitner is suing Brandy Pawnshot for the cost of a boxer puppy and vet bills.
Order. All rise. This case number 320 on the calendar in the matter of Leitner versus Pawnshot.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Leitner, you purchased a pet from the defendant?
Correct.
A puppy? You saw an ad someplace? Where did you see the ad?
On Craigslist.
How much was she selling the puppy for?
She was wanting $400, but if I purchased the puppy that day, she would take $300.
Did you ask her why?
I did not.
Why not?
I was wanting to save $100, Your Honor.
Did you ask her where the puppy came from?
She had explained to me that she purchased it from her friend who was a breeder.
Okay. Did she tell you when?
At 6 weeks, when the puppy was 6 weeks.
On what date did you purchase the puppy?
October 1st. No.
And you weren't curious?
Well, at one point, she did say that her other dog did not get along with it, but I don't know if that was her reason or not. The puppy had a bite mark on it or an injury on it.
How old was the puppy when you bought it?
9 weeks.
So she had had the puppy for 3 weeks?
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
How long had you had the puppy?
I had the puppy for a week.
Did you tell him the puppy was 9 weeks?
Yes, well, the puppy was 8 weeks at the time, Your Honor,
8
that I
weeks.
had bought her, and 9 weeks when he bought her.
Do you have the person who bred the puppy?
I do not.
Who is this?
This is my friend.
What is she doing here?
She's been around the puppy with her dog, and her dog was not sick at all, and parvo is very contagious.
Why were you selling the dog?
Because my 4-year-old boxer did not take well with her. She kept nipping at her, and I just felt like it wasn't a good situation.
Okay, your lawsuit is that the puppy, within a couple of days, got sick, took the puppy to the vet. It had parvovirus, and it had worms.
Yes.
And so you want your money back, and you want all the vet bills paid?
Yes.
Show me the contract where she gives you a health guarantee.
What I have is a text message from her that states that I had asked her, is the puppy healthy? She asked me if I had any questions. I had asked, is the puppy healthy? I asked for the cost.
Just a second. Is the puppy healthy? She said yes.
Yes.
It's on October 1st.
Yes.
And you took the puppy home?
Yes.
On Saturday night?
Yes.
I assume that when you met her on Saturday night, which all of this was not smart in hindsight, right? You let the puppy run around to see if you liked it.
We met at a Walgreens.
You let the puppy walk around?
Yes.
For how long?
A few minutes. Again, it was at a Walgreens, so I didn't want to leave the puppy down too long. We mostly held it.
And then you brought it home?
Correct.
On what date did you take it to the vet?
It was Wednesday, that following Wednesday.
So you had the dog with you Sunday?
Sunday, Monday,
Just a second. You had the dog on Sunday?
Yes.
I assume that if you have a new puppy and if the new puppy doesn't appear to be okay, then you take the puppy right to the vet. That's what I would do. Did you contact her on Sunday?
She contacted me.
On Sunday?
Yes.
And said?
Asked me how the puppy was.
And what did you say?
I said she did fine. She told me she had kept her in a cage at night, so I did too. The puppy cried. We let her out and put her in bed with us. And she slept fine that night.
Of course. So you said she was fine?
Yes.
That was on Sunday?
Well, she slept, yes.
Just a second.
Well, Sunday she did start to, she was showing signs.
Sunday?
Oui.
And she wasn't used to your business?
Right.
But she slept with you on Sunday. When did you call the defendant next?
I believe it was Monday. I wanted more information from her.
What did you ask her?
She had told me that she had had her first set of shots and been dewormed.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And where was that?
I did not know where the vet was. I had assumed that it was at my breeder friend's, but after contacting her, she had actually given the shots with the Tractor Supply.
Did you give him the name of the breeder?
I did not.
Did he ask for it?
No, Your Honor.
And you finally took the puppy to the vet on Wednesday, so you've had the puppy Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays, 3
Correct.
days.
Yes.
Okay. And I assume that if the puppy appeared to be in extreme, you look like a nice man, your wife looks like a nice lady. You see, what you're going to have to demonstrate to me, Mr. Leitner, is as follows. She had this puppy a very short time.
Not what she told me.
She had this puppy a very short time because the puppy was a young puppy. Whether she had the puppy a week or 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. That's a very short time.
Okay.
And you don't have a written contract from a breeder or from the person that you're buying it from that says, I will guarantee the puppy's health for 30 days, 60 days, you can get your money back, whatever it is. That's what you get usually when you buy a puppy from a breeder or from another outlet that breeds dogs as a business. It's sort of suspicious circumstances. Meeting Saturday night, she's getting rid of the dog, you don't know why, you saw the dog was a little bit injured, it sort of was consistent with her dog didn't get along with it. You have to demonstrate to me that there was an implied warranty that this dog, or guarantee that this dog was healthy, and if it was not, she would take the dog back and you would get a refund within a period of time. That's what you usually have. Take the dog to the vet the next day. The dog has had, these are the dog shots. You get a piece of paper that says this is when the dog was dewormed, this is when the dog had its first shot, second shot. You had another dog.
Yes.
So you know that. You know that. You didn't get anything like that from her.
And on that note, Your Honor, every dog I've purchased has been from a private owner, and I've never had any issues. Things have always worked out. It was going by my history with purchasing puppies.
How many dogs
I did nothing different.
How many dogs do you have?
Now, one, the puppy.
Just this one?
Yes.
And you don't want her to take this puppy back?
Not now, no, Your Honor. I did it at the point when we found out the dog was deathly ill.
Just a second, did you call and tell her?
Yes.
And did you say, I want to bring it back?
Yes.
And what did she say?
That's when the communication stopped.
Stopped, because she had not given you a guarantee or a warranty.
I have a witness that will state that she have a text that also states that she says the puppy is healthy. She told us when we purchased it, the puppy is healthy, and she told us if you're not happy with it, I'll take the puppy back and give you your money.
Did you say that to them?
No, Your Honor. I said if they gave me a couple days, I would help find it a good home.
That's not correct.
Why would you say if they gave me a couple of days? I don't understand.
Because I couldn't find a good home right when they would want it if they wanted to return it.
No. Why would they? The only reason they would want to return it is if it was sick. That sounds ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Now I'm going to ask you one more time. When he called you and said to you, the puppy is sick, what did you say?
Your Honor, he did not call me. He sent me a text message, and I did not respond.
Why?
Because at that point, I didn't know what to do. He was asking me for a lot of money.
What was he asking you for?
For $1,700 in vet bills.
Oh, no, you can't ask her for the vet bills.
That's not what I asked. I had asked, I believe it says in the text message, I'm at the vet, the puppy is deathly sick, needs immediate treatment. It's going to cost me $600 and something was their estimate for that treatment then, and then I needed to take her to a 24-hour emergency care facility, and that would be $1,000 a day, most likely. So that's when I text her.
You expected her to deal with that? It wasn't her problem?
Bad news. You told me that if I wasn't happy, I could return the puppy. I said, I need my money back to continue care on this. Please give me my money back. And I was ready to give up the puppy. And that's when she went as far as to hide the evidence that the puppy was sick by ignoring my calls.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you didn't know the puppy was sick on Saturday night, on Sunday,
I started
on
suspecting.
Monday,
I started suspecting.
Well, maybe she didn't sort of
saw the
suspect.
evidence
Maybe you're
that the
smarter
puppy
than
was
she
sick.
is. Maybe you're smarter than she is.
And later today,
If you don't get along with him anymore, that's your business. If he doesn't get along with you, that's his business. But the two of you made a child together, and his child has two parents. And both parents are entitled to be in that child's life.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Steve Leitner says Brandy Pawnshot sold him a sick boxer puppy.
Now, I'm not comfortable that when you saw this puppy in the Walgreens parking lot and let it run around and then kept it in your bed and let it sleep with you and then had it the entire day the next day, you didn't take the puppy to the so
vet,
for you.
The vet had asked me when she had her first shots. They wanted to know that.
Just listen to what I'm saying to you. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
That's why I didn't take her earlier.
You're not listening to what I'm saying
I'm
to
sorry.
you, sir.
I'm sorry.
You have to satisfy me to even consider this case that she knew the puppy was sick. And if you didn't know the puppy was sick on Saturday night, on Sunday,
I started suspecting.
Well, maybe you sort of suspected. Maybe she didn't sort of suspect. Maybe you're smarter than she is. But certainly, you look like a nice man, Mr. Leitner. So if you knew that the puppy was sick on Monday and you bought it under these circumstances, you would have taken it to the vet Mondays.
The only thing I saw from the puppy was a lack of energy and a lack of appetite.
She didn't give the dog a pill on Saturday night to make it happy and jovial and running around Saturday night, Sunday. You have to show that because you don't have a written guarantee of a puppy.
Correct.
The only sympathy I would have for you is if she masked somehow symptoms of a sick puppy and knowingly sold you a sick puppy. And you don't have any evidence of that.
Evidence that she tried to get out of this or contacting me by faking her own. She sold me a bad puppy because she did not want to pay me back or give me my money back.
You're absolutely right.
She went to extreme circumstances.
You're still not following me, sir. She doesn't have $2,000 to give you for vet bills that you expended for this puppy. You have to prove to me, in order for me to have any sympathy whatsoever with your position, that she knowingly sold you a sick puppy. If the puppy showed no symptoms to you when you bought it, how am I supposed to ascribe the fact that the puppy was sick while in her custody?
Based on the vet reports in here, she was underweight, she was skeletal.
That's something you should have seen. You go to pick up a puppy, and if a puppy, and you said, I bought many dogs. That's what you told me before. I bought many dogs, many puppies, and I always bought them this way. That's what you told me.
Yes.
Well, if the dog was skeletal, then you would have seen that on Saturday.
I've got
and you
pictures
would have
showing
seen
what she looked like.
You would have seen it on Sunday.
I've got pictures.
Your case is dismissed, Mr. Leitner. You had no case against her. We're done.
Oh, is excuse me. Step out.
I truly believe she knew she sold me a sick puppy.
I think she did not. I love dogs. I wouldn't have gotten rid of her.
I love the puppy.
I'm just glad the puppy was okay.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Benson versus Baldinelli. Step forward.
Raymond Benson is suing his ex-fiancée, Vanessa Baldinelli, for unpaid credit card charges and the return of a tablet and a wedding ring set.
The defendant has some rings probably in that box. Can I see them, Bert, please? Mr. Benson, this is your former fiancée. It is your claim that she has some rings that belong to you, engagement rings that belong to you, which she is prepared to return. Because I read your answer. Your answer said the engagement's over, he can have the rings back. So there are his rings. Would you give them to Mr. Benson? You also claim that the defendant owes you for some credit card bills. You let her use a credit card of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
What credit card?
My MasterCard, Capital One.
Did you give her own card?
No.
So you only had one card?
Only had one card.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving her that card.
One time she went down to Stockton to see her sister, and she took the credit card with her, and she made some purchases.
When?
Back in March of 2015.
Forget it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It is inappropriate for one parent the input of a second parent because they don't get along anymore. Your son has a right to have the input of both parents, and you picked them.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Raymond Benson says ex-fiancée Vanessa Baldinelli owes for credit card charges and a wedding ring set. Vanessa is countersuing for the return of a dining room table.
Now, when was the engagement over?
The engagement was over when she left August 28th.
Of this year?
Of this year, 2016.
I'm not interested in March of 2015. What's next?
I have court papers right here I was hoping you can help me with, because I've not seen my son since September 25th.
I can't help you with that. Did you file for visitation?
Your Honor, yes, I have. But she's been ducking me. I have not seen her.
You mean she hasn't been served?
She has not been served because I've been trying to get her served at her job, but she has not been working there. I've been looking for her.
All I can do
and
is,
I cannot find her. She has the...
Shh. I'm going to tell her something. I don't have the jurisdiction to order visitation. Do you understand?
Yes.
All I can do is tell you this. You have a son together? Mm-hmm. Do you have a son together?
Yes. Yes, sir.
How old is that child?
10 months.
You left in August?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. I was working.
Did you work?
Yes.
Did Mr. Benson work?
Yes.
Did you work the same hours?
No.
When you worked, who took care of the baby?
I only worked on Saturday. At the time, him.
Eventually, he's going to have visitation with his son. And a judge will order that he have visitation with his son. And when it was convenient for you, when you wanted to work, you found nothing inappropriate about his behavior, so that you left an infant with his father to take care of. So eventually, Mr. Benson is going to be smart enough to either retain a lawyer or himself say that to the judge. Till she left, she worked on Saturdays, and I took care of my son. She left me in charge of my son. So it's going to be a very hard uphill battle for you to say he can't see him now because now he's dangerous, now that it's no longer convenient for you. If you don't get along with him anymore, that's your business. If he doesn't get along with you, that's his business. But the two of you made a child together, and the child has two parents. And both parents are entitled to be in that child's life. And it is inappropriate for one parent to deprive another parent. Put your hand down. To deprive another parent and to deprive a child of the input of a second parent. Harmonious departure or whether it was a happy departure is not relevant. Not relevant. Your son has a right to have the input of both parents, and you picked them. Okay. Now, that's as much as I can do to help you. Now, what you have to do is to get her served. Hire a process server and get her served.
It's hard when you're dealing with someone that's a liar and a manipulator, okay? The last time I saw my son was August 25th. Okay.
Mr. Benson, you're not listening.
You're not listening.
Mr. Benson,
when I did not abuse him at all, Your Honor, and this is why I haven't seen my son. Okay, I've been under emotional distress.
Sure.
I'm going to throw you both out. You're not listening to me. I told you I have no jurisdiction with regard to granting you an order of visitation.
I understand.
I've told her what I thought as someone who sat in the family court and worked in the family court for a quarter of a century. And if you get a judge who has appropriate experience, the judge is going to tell you the exact same thing that I did, that you're not supposed to be manipulative with regard to a child that the two of you made together. It was your choice to make a child with him. That's all we're going to talk about with regard to visitation.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and...
I'm not interested in the 2015 credit card bill. Now all we have is a tablet. I don't know what kind of tablet you're talking about.
It's an LG tablet that she stole from me when she came and got her belongings.
I didn't steal it from her.
Okay. Is that his tablet?
Yes.
Okay. Bird, would you take that tablet, please?
Oh, okay. Yes.
And turn it over to the plaintiff. Now we're done. Now, what personal property do you claim you left in his house that you want back?
My dining room table.
Do you have her dining room table?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. What else?
That's it. Some mirrors on the wall.
When are you going to make arrangements to pick up the dining room table?
As soon as possible. As soon as
you have 5 days from today's date. Bring an escort with you.
Okay.
But I need to be present. I don't want her to be home.
Oh, absolutely. She has to give you notice, and she should probably get a police standby order when she removes it.
Yes.
And she has to be there to remove it, to identify it, so it's done.
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
We're good. Thank you. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I think that she made a good decision.
Justice was served, and I just want to say thank you, Judge Judy.
It was a violent situation, and I left with me and my son.
I'm not violent. I'm not an abuser.
I hope that I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Just co-parent his parents and raise his child, because he needs both of his parents.
What did you take for $5,400 for?
It had came up that he was looking for a truck.
This buyer found nothing but trouble.
You didn't buy him the truck, and you used some of the money.
Yes.
You were furious.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't blame you.
And he wasn't the only one.
Who is this?
Another victim.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he knew the same story with me.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Charles Griffith is suing his neighbors, Scott and Deborah Fitzgerald, for scamming him on the sale of a truck.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 205 on the calendar, the matter of Griffith versus Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Mr. Griffiths, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a carpenter, ma'am.
Do you work for yourself or for someone else?
I work for myself for 38 years.
Work out of your home, or do you have a place of business?
I work out of other people. Yes,
At
ma'am.
their home. You don't have a place.
I have a small place, a small area at my home that I do small work
Who do you live with?
with my wife and my dog.
Does your wife work?
Not at the present.
Had she worked?
She has.
What kind of work does she do?
Dental assistant.
The defendant, Mr. Fitzgerald, is a neighbor of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known him?
About 6 months.
How long have you lived in your home?
4 years.
So they just moved in.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you own your home?
No, ma'am. I rent.
And do you own your home or do you rent?
Rent.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm disabled right now.
From what?
Driving tow trucks.
When were you last employed on a full-time basis?
About a year ago, I believe. Maybe a little longer.
What does your wife do?
A debt collector, bill collector.
Do you do side work, getting people cars?
No.
Did you ever?
Yes.
When?
About 2 years ago.
How long did you do it for?
A couple months.
How much money did you take from Mr. Griffin?
I took $5,400.
When did you take $5,400 from him? I don't want you to speak at all. Do you understand? When I ask you a question, you'll speak. When did you take $5,400 from him?
5 weeks from August 9th, 2016.
So mid-September.
Yes.
What did you take for $5,400 for?
He was asking me if for him, and I said I would see what I can do.
Is there any particular reason he would ask you to get a truck for him?
We were talking about it. It had came up that he was looking for a truck.
And?
I said I would try to look for one for you.
Why would he want you to look for a truck for him?
Because I told him that some of the tow yards have tow trucks, or have trucks, I'm sorry.
And what special arrangement do you have with them?
They have auctions once a month.
Do you have a license to go to those auctions?
You don't need a license to go. It's open to the public.
So why can't he go? Because you were going to get a fee for that.
A fee?
A fee, money. I mean, what were you doing it for? Just because he's your friend?
I was helping him out, trying.
You're going to have to explain that to me further. I thought you didn't do that for a couple of years.
I hadn't.
And he gave you $5,400. Did he give it to you in check or cash?
Cash.
Did he give it to you all at one time?
No.
He gave it to you in payments?
2.
What were the amounts of the payments?
$3,800 and $1,200.
How far apart were the two payments?
I don't think too long. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe 2 weeks. I'm not 100% sure.
Did you ever find him a truck?
No.
So then he came looking for his money, I assume.
We were talking about it for a while, and then he had wanted to do, it was a loan, so I had till Thanksgiving to pay on.
Just a second. I don't understand. I thought you were going to buy him a truck. And the truck was $5,400 that you found. And now you're telling me it was a loan that you were supposed to pay him back for in Thanksgiving. Can we get our act together here?
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, the $5,400 was a loan or for a truck?
For a loan. For a truck, I'm sorry.
What was Thanksgiving?
Because I ended up using some of the money for bills that I was sick in and out of the hospital. So then I had to get it back to him by Thanksgiving.
Okay, so you took the $5,400, according to you, and you didn't buy him the truck.
Correct.
You used some of the money.
Yes.
So far, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
No. You want to tell me your version of the story because it gets more complicated.
Yes, ma'am. July 5th, I was walking my dog past his house. He stopped me to talk just casually, and he said he was on his way to buy a car, and that if I wanted to go in with him to get this car, he was going to flip it and get 3 times the amount of money. I said, I'm not in the market for a car, but I am looking for a dually truck because I bought a trailer. I need something to pull my trailer with. He said, oh, we have a 2003 F-350 dually truck at the yard where I work. And
this is in July.
This is in July.
This is in
He says it's $3,800.
I thought you didn't work since last year.
I did.
Okay, keep going.
So I didn't have the money available to me at the moment, but I called my landlord who was willing to loan me $4,000. I got a loan from my landlord and an agreement to
Who is
pay him
this?
back within 30 days.
Who was this?
This is a witness.
Not your landlord.
No, not my landlord. This is another victim of the defendant. But anyway, I got the $4,000 from my landlord.
Let me see proof of that. Why would your landlord give you $4,000?
Because I have a very good ongoing relationship with him. He loaned me $4,000 for 30 days. I knew I had money coming in from a check. My wife was involved in a very serious accident. That's why she's not working today. And the check there in that stack is $10,800 to be paid for the car that she wrecked by the insurance company. The check of $10,800, that was how I was going to pay my landlord back. So it's more than enough money to pay my landlord back within the 30 days.
And your landlord is?
Hartman. So I had a loan agreement with him.
Just a second. Just a second. Did you deposit the money into Mr. Hartman's account on August 6th?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Uh-huh.
That was the 30 days.
Got it. Go ahead.
Mr. Fitzgerald, the $3,800, he sends me a text saying 2007, better condition, lower miles. I'd much rather see you in this truck than a 2003. It's only $5,400.
Where did you get the other money from?
Little by little, I paid him over the course of 2 weeks of jobs that I had already
$1,200.
Contracted $1,200.
Got it. Okay, so then this is what happened. He never gave you back your money.
That's correct.
And he never got you a truck.
That is correct.
And you went over there, you were furious.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't blame you. And what happened was he had a truck, and he said to you, listen, I don't have the truck, I'm not feeling well, and whatever. Take my truck, and we'll call it even. And he gave you his truck. What kind of truck was that?
A 2000 Ford Ranger pre-runner.
Could you look up that card?
I have pictures of that truck.
Just a second. So you knew that you had gotten a little snookered with him, so you took the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you found out when you went to register it that it had a title loan on it.
Correct.
Of $4,000.
Yes, ma'am.
You still have the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And is the truck running?
I believe so, yes.
What do you mean you believe so?
It's just sitting there.
Well, it shouldn't just be sitting there. It just shouldn't be sitting there.
Okay.
Okay, so you agreed to take his truck. You have the title. What's the name of the loan company?
Title Max Loan.
Is that who is
Yes,
the lien on it? Title?
Title Max.
Title Max. And what's the amount of the loan? Now, what's the amount of the loan?
I believe $3,600 now. It was lower a month ago. Interest goes up $10 a day, unfortunately.
$10 a day. So it's $3,600. Is that correct?
I believe so. I haven't cleared the contract with them.
And it's Title
Max Loan, but I have about...
You have about what?
About $10,000 or more into the truck. I have all the pictures of...
Who cares?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he used the same story with me and him.
He took money?
He took my money and had a police report.
How did you find each other?
He know my phone number.
From the police records?
Yes.
Police records. Many people.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
And later today...
It is my understanding from reading these papers that you were together with her in the car when the tolls were accumulated. Is that yes or no?
I wasn't with her, no. The first time that we got billed for that, we went to LA together. But on the remaining of the toll roads, I was not with her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Charles Griffith says he scammed him on the sale of a truck. Scott and Deborah are countersuing for assault, harassment, and the return of a vehicle.
Okay, listen to me carefully. You agreed in satisfaction of whatever deal you had with him to take the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And say goodbye.
Yes, ma'am.
But then you were hit with the fact that there was a title loan on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the loan papers. Let me see the loan papers.
I guess this would be the loan.
No, the loan papers from Title Max.
I don't have those.
But you have that information, because you must have that information because you were told that Title Max had Title Max. Great. We need that.
This is from the DMV stating that Title Max owns the title.
Title Max owns the title. Great.
Which means they own the truck.
And $3,600 is about what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the truck, which is what your deal was eventually.
Yes,
Title Max, great. In Los Angeles. So this is how we're resolving your case. We're going to write out a check to Title Max. You have the truck. That's what you bargained for with him. Then you're going to get a free and clear title.
Yes, ma'am.
Great?
Great.
Then you don't have a truck anymore. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Now You're smiling. You thought it was going to end differently, right? Not you. Not going to end differently. Going to write out a check. And you're not getting the truck back because you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is that he harassed you and he bullied you and he assaulted your wife, and it's terrible. I'll get to that in a minute. Tell me your name.
Yeah, my name is Tony Trin.
Do you have any dealings with him?
Yeah, I know him from my co-worker.
Did you buy a car from him?
Yeah, he used the same story with me, with similar like him.
He took money.
He took my money and had police report. He admitted he owed me money.
I'd like to see it. So why don't you sue him?
I did.
Did you get a judgment?
No, I had a small claim, and I sent to his address, but he moved, so I know I can get him.
How did you find each other?
He called me. He know me from the record. He pulled out from the record. He know my phone number.
From the police records?
Yes.
Police records. Many people.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
I sure him.
Why don't they just arrest him for fraud?
I had no idea.
When did this happen with the car with you?
I think November 2013. And that time I go with another people.
How do you support yourself now?
Disability? Yeah.
Nature of your disability, one more time.
My back is completely shattered. I have neuropathy. They're getting ready to do surgery on my kidney. I have some health stuff.
Who's your caretaker?
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law?
Through IHSS.
I'm going to write out a check to Title Max. If it's more than that, that's what it's going to be. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I'm done with you.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
When I was in the hospital, he came to my house and pretty much threatened my wife.
I'm very happy with her decision. I think she did the right thing.
That he was going to hurt me and hurt my family if I didn't give the truck up that night under distress.
I don't believe there's any truth at all to that.
I got hit.
No, I never hit her. Never laid a hand on her.
I was in no state of mind when I came home to sign what I signed.
Investigate the person first before you give them money.
They'll be out of there in about 30 days, so.
I hope that they end up moving. I really do.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Salazar versus Rodriguez. Step forward.
Ricky and Jessica Salazar are suing Ricky's aunt, Eliza Rodriguez, for unpaid care credit charges and for toll fees on a car they leased for her.
Mr. and Mrs. Salazar, who is the relative of the defendant?
I am.
You don't have to poke him. Don't poke him.
Oh, sorry.
And how is she a relative of yours?
She's my aunt.
There came a time when, according to your complaint, she was in a situation where she was going to become home with you and your family.
Yes.
And there was an agreement to pay rent. She moved in with a husband and some children.
No, I have no husband, just my son.
Just your son. And there was an agreement to pay rent?
Yes, the first month after I moved in with them.
And you got a job and you did start to pay rent?
Correct.
That was $500 a month?
Correct.
Is your claim that she owes you for a few things? Situation didn't work out, you're no longer living with them?
That's correct.
One of the things that you claim she owes you for is an unpaid credit care.
Care credit.
And tell me about what that is. Is that a...
It's a credit card to help for dental vision. It's very hard to get approved for it based on credit scoring.
So who got approved?
It was mine. I've had it previous years.
It was yours?
Yes.
And you needed to use it for eye care?
For eye care and for dental work.
And so she loaned you her card for that?
She did, yes.
And how much did you use on her card?
I used close to $700. It was about $687 that I used for the dental work and for the eyewear as well.
Did you pay them back?
I was starting to make payments on that card.
Did you pay them back?
For the full amount, no.
What amount did you pay back?
I made a couple of payments. I didn't bring proof of that, but I did make a couple payments there. I think one was $75. And
payments that you made?
There are several payments. She's made maybe multiple payments in 1 month. Some of, I believe, some like...
I want you to...
15.
Tell me the money that she paid, since she doesn't have proof, on the card. Was there zero balance on the card?
Yes.
Oh, then I'll take a look at it. Oh, I see there are fees built up on this card.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There are charges built up on this card.
Yes.
So the new balance is $694.27.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Expensive card. Got to pay that off.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Anything else?
There was damages to the vehicle when she brought it to his back about a little after midnight.
Just a second. But you weren't charged for that, correct?
No.
So then
Okay,
there's nothing to sue her for.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ricky and Jessica Salazar say Ricky's aunt, Eliza Rodriguez, owes for care credit charges and toll fees.
Okay, the next thing that you claim she owes you for is for tolls.
Yes.
At some point, it was for you.
But I lent it to her
Okay, so you leased a car.
on her promise that she would pay it off until she could get it refinanced, then the car would be hers.
Well, if it's a lease, then it doesn't get to be hers.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever use the car, Mr. Salazar?
I borrowed it, yes.
You did. How many times did you borrow it?
I'd say about twice.
And did you borrow it for long trips?
It was for a trip to Mexico.
So the fact that there was overage on the mileage when you took the car back, I'm not going to sit here and figure that out. So let's talk about the tolls. How much were the tolls?
About almost $250.
What is the exact amount of the tolls?
I don't have that paper with me with the exact amount.
Well, then
but I do have the proof of each payment or statement that they've given to us when we went to go speak to them regarding the situation.
It is my understanding from reading these papers that you were together with her in the car when the tolls were accumulated. Is that yes or no?
I wasn't with her, no.
Who was?
It was her, I don't know, she had position of the vehicle as when she moved out, so I don't know.
The first time that we got billed for that, it was once going to LA, once coming back. That was on February 6th. We went to LA together before we were going to go to Vegas to go shop. Going, she was...
And on one of them, we were together. But on the remaining of the toll roads, I was not with her. Because I have them here. They took pictures of it, the date and the times, and the locations.
Fine.
And they were when she wasn't living with us anymore.
So the one in February, is that on?
I was with her on one of them.
Take the one in February out.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to tell me, what is the total amount that is owed on tolls?
$279.35.
Now you can hand those up. Okay, you do agree that when you go through a toll and you don't pay the toll, you have to pay the tolls when you're driving?
That's correct.
Okay, fine. So far that's $973. Anything else?
There was damages to the vehicle when she brought it to his back about a little after midnight.
Just a second.
Okay, the vehicle that she had possession of. Oh.
I understand. But,
sorry.
But you weren't charged for that, correct?
No.
So then
okay,
there's nothing to sue her for.
I understand.
$973. Are we done? $3. We're done.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It seems like they were just trying to sue me for anything that they could because I moved out.
I got my care credit back paid. I'm happy for that.
He put a knife to my neck. He was arrested for it.
It's a closed case that is not to be discussed here.
There was so much tension in the home that I just had to get out.
We do our all, and the least we want to just be appreciated for it.
Staying away from him or them.
I'm hurt.
What money did she give you?
She didn't give me any money. She paid some things for me, ma'am.
Banking on an over-generous friend.
She helped me with moving. She fed me.
Why did you give her all this money?
For over 13 years, I have been assisting her.
But her days of generosity are over.
Miss Reynolds came to me with a promissory note. Well, I told her I wasn't signing anything.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Sharon Reynolds is suing her former friend, Teresa Barksdale, for unpaid loans to pay her bills.
Now it's case number 278 on the calendar in the matter of Reynolds versus Barksdale.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in.
You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Reynolds, according to your complaint, you've known Miss Barksdale for a good part of your life.
Yes.
And it is your claim that sometime about a year ago, she had run into some financial difficulty and you made a loan to her.
Yes.
You wanted to pay you back.
Yes.
She was expecting, according to you, some money. Did you receive a settlement from Social Security?
In 2014, yes, ma'am.
In what amount?
I received 2 payments from Social Security in 2014 for $2,163, and September the 2nd, 2014 for $2,759.10.
Is that the only money you ever received from Social Security?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that for?
When I applied for Social Security, I had to wait a certain length of time, and they gave me back payment.
Do you get Social Security disability now?
I get SSI, ma'am.
So that's Social Security disability?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you're not 65, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right.
You're not
correct.
65.
You're correct.
So those were the only lump sum payments you
Yeah.
Anyway, in 2015, you had some money trouble?
I was homeless, ma'am.
How did Miss Reynolds help you?
In 2015, I had put in for public housing, and I had signed a lease, and I had to cancel the lease because I couldn't wait on public housing. They wouldn't help me if I was in a year's lease. So Miss Reynolds helped me.
What'd she give you?
She did a lot of things for me. She got my car fixed. She helped me with my daughter 7 for school. 7 was in high school. She helped me with moving. She fed me. I spent all my...
No, she fed you. I'm not interested in her feeding you. What money did she give you?
She didn't give me any money. She paid some things for me, ma'am.
What did she pay for?
She has a list of things.
No, not she. Don't tell me what her list is. I want you to tell me what your list is.
I don't have a list, ma'am.
So she gave you that list?
I have the list.
Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
When did she give you that list?
I just received this from my lawyer 2 days before I came here. I never had a list before.
What's the name of your lawyer?
Mr. Stevens. He's a legal aid lawyer in Norfolk, Virginia.
When did you go to Mr. Stevens?
Prior to coming here, Wednesday, I think.
Is that the first time you went to see him?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you go to see Mr. Stevens right before you came here?
Because Mr. Stevens was appointed to me as a legal aid lawyer, and we went...
For what case?
For the same case.
So he was appointed for you for a civil case?
Yes, ma'am.
Who appointed him for a civil case for you?
Legal aid.
You've been represented by legal aid before in criminal case?
No, ma'am.
Had you ever been involved in a criminal case?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Were you represented by a private lawyer or legal aid?
Court appointed.
What were you being sued for that you were appointed a legal aid lawyer in 2016?
This case right here.
Well, explain to me how that came about. Look at me. Don't look down. Look at me. Explain to me how that came about.
Miss Reynolds came to me with a promissory note back in May for some things that she had paid for me for. At that time, I didn't know what she was charging me for, and I asked if she would write out and tell me what I owed her for. At that time, when I asked her, she told me, come on, you know you owe me. Just sign a promissory note.
And?
So I told her I wasn't signing anything.
That was in May?
That was in May, ma'am.
And what happened next?
And I still didn't know what I was being charged for. 7 was graduating. Like I said, I had been friends with her for a long time. I invited her to see 7 off the prom and graduation and all that. I heard from her again, and maybe a couple of months ago, before we went to court, about September, she called me and she said her lawyer asked me one more time to give her whatever. And I told her, I said, Sharon, I said, well, you do what you have to do. I don't have anything to say about that. So I received a summons to come to court on October the 3rd in Virginia Beach Court. And my lawyer at that time got it continued to the 15th of November.
Was that the legal aid lawyer, Mr. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Stevens got it continued. You went to see Mr. Stevens. And how much was Ms. Reynolds suing you for when you got the summons on October 3rd?
$6,000 and some dollars.
So Mr. Stevens gave you the list?
Yes, ma'am.
Of what Ms. Reynolds says she helped you with?
Yes, ma'am.
In 2015, expecting to be repaid?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see the list. So she loaned you $2,000 in 2014, and you paid her back in 2014 because you got the $2,000 check from Social Security. Is that right?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Yes and no.
She says you paid her back.
She did not loan me $2,000, ma'am.
Really? What did she do? And why did you give it back to her?
She loaned me $1,300.
And?
And I gave it back to her.
$1,300?
$1,300.
Okay, good, because that's not really part of this lawsuit. And there are certain things here that I'm not even considering. October of 2015, you were staying at the In-Town Suites because you had gotten evicted from your apartment.
That's not
And she
true.
said she paid $1,348 for the In-Town Suites, where I assume you and your daughter were staying. Did she do that?
Yes, ma'am, but I didn't get evicted.
Okay, but she paid
But she
that
did
bill.
pay it. Yes, she did.
Okay, great. Then, in November, you started to stay at the Ocean View Inn.
Yes, ma'am.
Who paid that bill?
She paid that bill. She paid it in advance.
$1,099.
Yes, ma'am, she paid that.
She says on November 20th, you had an outstanding back payment with Sunrise Apartments.
Yes, ma'am.
For $1,440.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you wanted to move back into Sunrise Apartments.
No, ma'am.
You did not. Did you ever move back into Sunrise?
No, ma'am.
So why did you pay this $1,440?
I had to pay $1,400 because I had to break the lease.
Well, but that was in 2014. Then you moved to other
No. It was
places.
2016. I moved into Sunrise Apartments in 2014. I moved out of Sunrise Apartment in 2015. 16.
Well, then what were you staying in motels for?
Because I was waiting for public housing, and I had signed a lease with. I was living with my son when I moved in Sunrise Apartments at first. My son moved aside, and public housing said that I couldn't be in a lease for a year. So the lease was canceled 14 days after I had signed it. And I bought a letter, I bought my 30-day notice also, where I had to cancel the lease, and I also bought the lease.
Now, did you tell her in October that your car had stopped working and
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
needed to fix your car?
Yes, it broke down on the way taking Seven to school, yes.
And did she, in fact, at that time, give you $695?
She paid for it. She said her husband said pay for it.
What do you do for a living?
My husband and I, we own a clothing manufacturing company.
Why did you give her all this money?
Well, the reason why I tried to help Seven, my niece, is because they had been displaced for so many years. They had been from Atlanta to Kentucky to Detroit, and I just wanted her to have some stability. So my reason for doing that was for Seven, not for Miss Wills.
For her daughter.
For the daughter, yes. And they call me Aunt Sharon. For over 13 years, I have been assisting her, sending her money. And so those loans, I mean, those were gifts. But 2014, that's when the loan started.
Anything you want to tell me?
Yes, ma'am. I borrowed that money for Sharon, and I told her that it would be a few months before the money came in. And as soon as I got that money, 2 days after the money went into the bank, it went direct deposit, I went and withdrew $1,300, and I took it down to Sharon's house to give it back to her. She told me to give it to her husband. I gave it to her husband. Seven was with me. That's not the money that she...
No, I know that.
Okay, you said, okay. It's been 16 years. I spent every holiday, every birthday, every Thanksgiving. She was like my sister because my family turned on me. I came out of a bad marriage, and she helped me, and she calls her Aunt Sharon. Sharon's like a sister to me. And everything Sharon done for me, I appreciate. I never told Sharon, ma'am, that I was going to pay her back, that I had another income coming in. When I borrowed this money, I showed her the letter that they gave me, that how much I was getting and when I was going to get. And so says I do not pay money for 2 years in a row. It was only 2 payments. And I did that. She told me what she was doing for me was because of Seven. She told Seven the same thing. Originally, I wasn't going into the hotel. I asked her if I could stay at her house. She said, yeah, because I spend most of my time over there anyway. She talked to her husband. Her husband said that I couldn't stay there because the family would be upset because she showed me more attention than her family members, like I was really a relative.
That's not true.
So, however, Your Honor, she said she's 18. She just turned 18.
Great. What does she do?
She doesn't work. She just got out of school. She's going to the Merchant Marine.
Well, now she has to work.
She's going into the Merchant Marine.
Great.
Man.
Well, that's fine. And I don't know what the nature of your disability is. I don't know how much you get from Social Security disability. Did your daughter get any money from Social Security disability?
No, she does not, ma'am.
Good. You owe $4,584. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You can step out.
Well, it was difficult because I gave her several attempts
Everything that Ms. Reynolds said she done for me, she done it. It was not alone.
to rectify the situation, and it was to no avail.
If I could have paid her, I would have, not because I owed her.
I just had to do what I needed to do.
The only thing I have to say is, what profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul?
I don't know. She's eccentric.
And I have nothing else to say about it.
She's a master of manipulation.
I have no comment.
And the friendship is done.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Perez versus Rowan, step forward.
Alejandro Perez is suing Thomas Rowan for a refund for an RV and punitive damages.
Mr. Perez, you bought a recreational vehicle from the defendant.
Correct.
On what date did you buy it?
June 29th.
You answered an ad. You came with a mechanic?
Yes, my friend Jack.
And Mr. Rowan didn't object to your mechanic looking at the RV?
Not at all.
So that was a smart thing that you did. You paid him how much?
$2,500.
And the RV, according to what I read in the papers, was 33 years old.
Yes.
And what did you do on the 29th when you paid him for the RV? Did you leave his house with it?
Yes, I did.
So you drove it?
I drove it home.
And how far is your home from Mr. Rowan's home?
15 miles.
And it got to your house?
Yeah, a father-in-law's house, as a matter of fact.
But you drove it 15 miles?
Yes.
And it drove?
It drove.
This is your problem. You want your money back. You say that the thing blew up after a relatively short period of time. You got some burns as a result of it blowing up. You want your money back. And Mr. Rowan says you bought a 33-year-old RV. You bought it as is, and he's not giving you your money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He called my brother-in-law, who was sitting inside the RV with me, and called him, hey, there's smoke coming out of the RV, please pull over. And as I got off, there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the engine, and it died.
You still have to tell me, sir, why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Alejandro Perez says Thomas Rowan lied about the condition.
You have a contract with him?
A contract?
A written contract?
No.
Can I see the ad that you answered?
Yes. This is the ad that was posted.
This says vintage 83 Fleetwood Pace Arrow motorhome, 454 Chevy chassis, own-in generator, rooftop air conditioning, runs great. Now you have to tell me why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Okay, you went the 29th, the day after I got off of work.
You have to tell me why you think you bought a 33-year-old RV in running condition. You brought your mechanic. Your mechanic said, I assume your mechanic said buy it.
Yeah,
because that's why you brought
it looked good.
Well, that's why you brought your mechanic. He didn't hide anything. He said, go look at it. You want your mechanic to see it? See it. You drove it, seemed to drive okay. When you buy a 33-year-old piece of equipment, unless he gives you a guarantee, there are no guarantees.
Well, he assured me that it was in perfectly running condition.
It was in perfectly good running condition. You ran it for 15 miles.
Yeah, but once I took it to get smogged, my Jack was following me, and he called my brother-in-law.
Just a second. So you drove it to your father-in-law's house, and you parked it there. That was 15 miles. And when did you take it to be day?
Next day.
So you drove it to be smogged.
Yes.
And how far did you have to drive it to the place where they were smogging it?
It was 15 miles.
Another 15 miles.
It did not make it all the way.
Okay, so...
As I was driving to get a smog, he called my brother-in-law, who was sitting inside the RV with me, and called him, hey, there's smoke coming out of the RV. Please pull over. So I cautiously pulled over, and as I got off, there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the engine. We got out of the RV, and it died. I couldn't turn on, so I made sure it was okay to stay there overnight. I called a tow truck the next day and got it towed back to my father-in-law's house.
You still have to tell me, sir, why you think you're entitled to your money back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Unless your mechanic is prepared to tell me that somehow this man jerry-rigged this RV so that it would travel 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and then it would start to smoke. You can't tell me that, can you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Alejandro Perez says Thomas Rowan lied about the condition of an RV he sold him.
Go ahead.
As far as I know, when you buy a vehicle and they tell you it's in perfect running conditions, it shouldn't overheat. It should be in perfect running conditions, as he's promised, because it was fit for me to make my camping trip that weekend.
Mr. Perez, you're being why. When you are selling merchandise, any kind of merchandise, new or used, the chatter that a salesman tells you is what you call puffing. It's a cream puff of a car. It was only driven by a little old lady going to the Piggly Wiggly every Sunday to buy her groceries. Other than that, it's always been garaged. Nobody ever touched it. The car happens to be 30 years old, but it's in great shape. You went so far as to bring a mechanic who told you to buy it. And you drove it without incident. The 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and part of the way to have it smogged. So it was running, and you had no issues with the way it was running because you brought your family out to see what a great thing you had purchased.
Right.
I feel sorry for you, but there is no legal remedy unless your contract with him guarantees the car for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months. There are certain guarantees other than salesman puffing, and the salesman can be a private person or not. Do you understand?
Yes. I also have messages from me and him back and forth saying that it is reliable, that it's good, that will get me anywhere and back.
It was reliable. It got you from one place to another. He's
guaranteed me it will take me go camping and back. That's not guaranteed if I drive a car for 30 miles and breaks down.
I just want to look at them so that I can make myself comfortable that there were no guarantees.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, that's not a guarantee. You say, do you think it's in good condition and that I can take my family out next weekend without dumping any money? It'll get you where you want to go and no problem. It doesn't have a house battery in right now, but if you have a hookups, you can plug it in. It's not a guarantee. Mr. Perez, I'm sorry for you, but you can't get your money back on a 33-year-old vehicle. And if your mechanic was really a great mechanic, he would have been able to tell you that there might be something wrong with the car. Unless your mechanic is prepared to tell me, which I'm absolutely positive that he's not, that somehow this man jerry-rigged this RV so that it would travel 15 miles to your father-in-law's house and then another 10 miles, and then it would start to smoke. You can't tell me that, can you? No, of course not. So that means he thinks a running RV. And when you took it, it was in good running condition. How do I know you didn't know how to drive it? Anyway, you have no case. So I'm sorry, but your case is dismissed. We're done.
Excuse you. You stepped out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm sorry that he didn't get what he wanted out of the thing. It was a good running motorhome.
How can you take it less than 30 miles and break down? That is not running perfect condition.
Yes, I would have driven it anywhere. I know I could have driven it.
And as it turned on, the big fireball came on, and myself and my brother-in-law got burned.
Well, you're not supposed to turn the gas on and go in and light a match.
Big fireball came out underneath the sink and the oven where there was a leak.
He had manuals. You should have read them, taken safety precautions.
To go camping with the family and have a good 4th of July vacation.
Glad nobody was hurt. I mean, that's why I wish he would have got...
Which we didn't end up doing anything.
You know, what he wanted out of it. I wish he would have read the manuals and learned how to drive it.
Miss Stewart said to you, let's exchange information.
An accident victim gets blindsided again.
So you told her you had no registration.
Yes.
You had no insurance.
Nor a driver's license.
You had no driver's license?
But are good intentions good enough?
I was on my way to do that.
You weren't taking it to the Department of Motor?
No more.
That's a good thing.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cata Stewart is suing fellow motorist Demarie Gonzalez for car damages resulting from an accident.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 304 on the calendar in the matter of Stewart versus Gonzalez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Stewart, am I correct? You drive an Uber?
Yes.
You're an Uber driver for a living. And there's an automobile accident that's the subject of this case. Each of you claim that the other is responsible for the automobile accident.
Yes.
On what date did it happen?
On March the 21st, 2016.
What time?
7:30 a.m.
And where were you going?
I was on my way to pick up an Uber fare.
And where were you going, Mr. Gonzalez?
I was taking my kids to school.
Did you have insurance?
No, I did not.
So that's why we're here.
Yes.
You were pulling out of your driveway.
Yes.
And you were making a left-hand turn.
I was, onto Eagle.
And you had the light.
Yes.
So far, are we correct?
There's no light right there.
Is there a stop sign?
Like stop signs, as you can see, but there's no lights or anything.
Okay. And?
And I made the left-hand turn. I had proceeded about 2 car lengths. Second car on my right, Mr. Gonzalez hit me.
Past?
There's 2 parked cars on the
Show
right
me
side.
where.
Sure. So as I
Show
turned...
me where the 2 parked cars were.
See where the bushes are right there?
Yes.
There were 2 cars right there against the curb.
So there were 2 parked cars there.
Yes.
Which partially obstructed the view of you coming out of the driveway.
There was only 1 parked car, a white Toyota.
Okay, so there was 1 parked car
Yes.
there that you saw.
Yes.
As you were pulling out.
Yes.
Judge Judy, if there were 2 cars parked there, I would have been able to park. And instead of being in the middle of the street, I had to pull alongside the other parked car so that I wouldn't be obstructing traffic coming that way.
You mean after the accident?
After the accident.
Move over. Can I see the damage to your car?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
after this accident, sir, the 2 of you stopped. And there's no question in my mind that Miss Stewart said to you, let's exchange information. What did you say to her?
I gave her my cell phone number.
No, that's not the information. She did your driver's license, the registration, and your insurance.
I told her I was on my way to do that.
Just a second. So you told her you had no registration.
Yes.
You had no insurance.
Yes.
And you were driving your car.
Yes, I had just purchased.
Just a second. I don't care whether you just purchased it. You weren't taking it to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You were driving your daughter to school.
Well,
you were using the vehicle, so you had no insurance. And that's what you said to her. I just read some of the text messages.
Okay.
Did she say she was going to call the police, let the police come and
Yes,
deal
she
with
did.
it? And what did you say to her?
I told her that I did not have any insurance.
That's right. What else did you say to her, Mr. Gonzalez, to inspire her not to call the police?
I don't remember everything that was said to her.
Well, did you say something like, we can handle this between the 2 of us, I don't have insurance, and I'll pay for your damage?
Yes, I did.
Not only did he say that, he said that he was expecting some money from school in the amount of like $9,400 and that he promised to pay for my damage. And, you know, I went against my better judgment because...
It doesn't make any difference. He didn't have insurance. What's the purpose of
Nor a driver's license.
No. You had no driver's license?
I had a permit at the time.
You didn't show me that.
Just a second.
You didn't ask to see
Just
it.
a second.
You didn't ask to see it.
Just a second. Do you have a driver's license now?
No, I don't. I don't even.
Can I see an estimate?
I don't even have a car no more.
Just a second. The estimate. Your insurance covered the damage to the car with the exception of the $1,000 deductible.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and it wasn't my insurance, it was Uber, because once I start driving fare-based, my insurance is not at fault. So instead of paying my normal deductible, which was like $250, I had to pay $1,000.
So you had just a second. So you had $1,000 out of pocket.
Yes.
And other than driving with Uber, because now you have Uber insurance, do you have any other source of income?
Yes, I also drive for GU Energy Lab, and I do other things, but the only thing was affected was the driving, because I can't use a rental vehicle.
And how many days was your car in service?
3 weeks.
Do you have any proof for me as to how much you earn a week?
I do.
I'd like to see.
If you notice, Judge, some of those are just like for a day. I would make, you know, that amount of money.
I see. But sometimes it's a relatively small amount of money.
Yes.
And how much did it cost you to rent a vehicle, and did the insurance cover a rental vehicle?
The insurance did not cover a rental vehicle, so I paid $767 out of my pocket.
Can I see that?
It's on the back page. This is the rental.
Right on the money. Would award you for your lost wages for 3 weeks as well as the rental car. You're suing for $2,500, and the amount actually comes in my figure closer to $2,567. Now, you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
This is how I respond to your counterclaim, Mr. Gonzalez. Don't drive a car when you don't have a license. Don't drive a car that's unregistered, and don't drive a car that has no insurance.
Well, that's what I was on my way to do that.
Do you understand? How do I know that? Just because you tell me?
Yeah.
Because you tell me? You weren't on your way there. You were on your way to take your daughter to school at 7:30 in the morning.
My business.
Okay, good. You have the bill of sale for the car?
I have nothing. The car is gone.
Just a second. You said you bought it the day before. Do you have a bill of sale to show me that you bought it a day before?
I don't have any of the paperwork in the car.
$2,500 judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaims dismissed. Thank you. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought, I wasn't going to make any money with him being in jail.
The fact that it was an accident and then I had no insurance,
And he promised to pay me, so I just gave it a shot.
In California, it kind of spikes up your insurance and everything,
I was dumbfounded, actually, because how are you...
I'm a single parent,
endangering your life and your children's life, driving illegal.
Make sure you got everything together before you get behind that wheel.
Don't always follow your heart, go by the book.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Young versus Gibson. Step forward.
Joseph Young for fraudulent use of his health care debit card.
Mr. Young, Miss Gibson is your former wife.
That is correct.
And you have 2 children.
4 total, Your Honor.
4. How old are they?
28, 25, 19, and 17.
And you are still financially responsible only for the 17-year-old?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this came up because you have some sort of a prepaid health card that you can purchase with pre-tax dollars. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Health savings account.
And that has to be used for only medical purposes?
Yes, Your Honor. Medical, dental purposes of anyone who's my dependent.
Who provides you that? I mean, I know that it's your money, but how do you get that? I've never heard of it.
Through my employer, Your Honor. They take out money pre-tax from my paycheck.
And you get a card?
Yes, a debit card.
And your former wife has that card for the purposes of taking care of your 17-year-old?
Yes, Your Honor.
And her medical needs. So far, is that correct?
No, Your Honor. I don't have a physical copy of the card, just a copy that he sent to my daughter.
So that you could use it for her?
Exactly.
And your complaint today is that your former wife used that card for your oldest daughter, who's 28, thereby placing you in jeopardy,
yes,
tax-wise, and she did it without consulting you.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you want her to Gibson?
The copy of the card was actually sent to our oldest daughter for the purpose of using for her medical bills because she was in between the age of leaving her father's insurance because she hit 26 and she didn't have her own. So our oldest daughter, who's here, contacted her father.
Tell me your name.
Dominique Young.
You're 28?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
When did you contact your father and tell him that you needed a copy of the medical card?
It must have been in June. I don't remember specifically.
June of what year?
2015, Your Honor.
When you were 27?
Yes.
And no longer his responsibility. So you called him and said what?
I sent him a text message and I asked him for the 3 numbers on the back of the card as well as the card, and he sent them to me.
Did you tell him why you needed them?
Yes, for my lab expenses.
And you used it just for the labs, and the labs were $561.
Yes,
yes. And we have a copy of the actual
Did you have that discussion with your daughter?
No, Your Honor, I did not. And I have helped my daughter financially since then. I have receipts showing I gave her $6,000 during that month.
Well, you have the text message?
No, I don't have the text message, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't think that it was going to come to this. I thought that my father sent me the 3 digits on the card, and I used them, and that was it.
Okay.
Moment.
Your former wife is not involved unless you have some sort of proof that your wife was the one who used the card.
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at that.
And later today,
when we looked at the door, we realized that somebody had presumably locked themselves out and they'd shouldered into the door.
I don't know if that's what happened.
Well, you can look at the pictures. The pictures, I would think, would tell the story.
No, they don't.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joseph Young says ex-wife Deborah Gibson fraudulently used his health care debit card.
Mr. Young, your daughter says that your former wife had absolutely nothing to do with this, that she was the one who used your card, and she says she used it with your permission. That's what she says.
That's untrue, Your Honor. I have other kids that are grown, and they have not used the card, and I never gave her that card.
Just a second. But that's what she says.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if that's what she says, then you are suing the wrong person.
No, Your Honor, I'm suing the person that had access to the card and was the only one authorized to use it for my minor daughter.
No. Listen to me, sir. If your daughter, who is now 28 years old, is testifying today that she texted you that she needed the codes on, she used the card. If what you're saying is she used it without my permission, that's a different case. But your former wife is not involved unless you have some sort of proof to me that your wife was the one who used the card.
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at that.
Here is the receipt that was paid to the company. It has my wife's email address because she was the only one who had possession of the card. Also, Your Honor, I gave my oldest daughter $6,000 that same
I don't care
month.
about the $6,000.
Why would I violate the law?
There's just a second. Is your former wife authorized to use this card?
For my...
Just a second.
Yes.
She's authorized, so she would have to sign.
Yes.
Your daughter is not.
That is correct.
But if your daughter was using it, she would sign her mother's name to any payment that she made because she knows she's not authorized to use the card. You knew that you weren't authorized to use the card?
Yes, Your Honor. But I asked my father, so I thought that his text message was appropriate for me to use it.
No, you didn't ask him, is what you said to me. You didn't ask. What you said was, I need the code on the card.
I did tell him what it was for.
Well, then, Mr. Young, I suggest you sue your daughter.
Your Honor.
Listen to me. You're going to sue your daughter unless you have something that satisfies...
But I do have Your Honor, a month. Why would I violate the law and tell her to charge something that puts me in trouble with the IRS law?
The answer is, I don't know, but that's what she says.
But
that's what she said. You can sit down now. You have the wrong defendant.
But no, I do, Your Honor. This is the only defendant that has the possession.
I'm telling you, you do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Not happening.
What's
not
not
with
happening?
these bills. Not with these bills. This isn't happening with these bills.
Well, I've detailed the photographs of the damage.
See. Do you know how this tile got broken, sir?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Joseph Young says ex-wife Deborah Gibson fraudulently used his health care debit card.
You have the wrong defendant. You have someone who has confessed to using the card.
But only the reason why she got the card was through her mother, who inappropriately gave it to her.
I don't know that. She says no. You want this $561 back, sir? Sue your daughter. She's an adult. She's required to pay her own expenses.
Your Honor, she wasn't given the card. Whoever gave her the card...
Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm disappointed in my father. This is one thing in a long line of things of trying to attack my mother.
No, I'm not worried about it at all. My daughter knows I've taken...
Me in the past, so...
Keep doing the right thing. Telling the truth.
I hope that he wants to be the father that we always wanted him to be, but I'm not very hopeful for that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Philip versus Say. Step forward.
David Phillip is suing his former tenant, Paul Say, for unpaid rent and damages.
Mr. Phillip, what kind of property did you rent to the defendant?
It's an apartment under historical preservation in Whitley Heights in Hollywood.
How many units are in the building?
3.
Okay, so it's an apartment in a building that you own.
Correct.
And he lived there for how long, Mr. Phillip?
Oh, about 4 or 5 years, I would say.
How many years did you live there?
5 years.
May I see a copy of the lease, please?
Same.
There was a security deposit, which is what I'm looking for, $5,500 that you received.
That's correct.
Did you ever return it to the defendant?
I gave an accounting
Did you ever return it to the defendant? The answer is no. Now I'd like to see the accounting that you gave him that ate up his $5,500 in security deposit.
Here it is.
$32.81 and 58 cents.
You moved out on August 20th, is that right?
That's correct.
And you didn't pay rent in July?
That's correct.
And you didn't pay rent for 21 days in August?
20.
20. Now I'd like to see photographs of some of this stuff that you are complaining about, sir. I want to see photographs, and I want to see the bills.
Okay, these are the photographs.
Mm-hmm. And so far, you owe him money.
Yes. $5,500 was the deposit.
I understand
and
that.
As a point of order, he didn't move out until the 21st, And here he's returning the keys on the 22nd. These are the bills, by the way.
I'd like to see the bills.
And the accounting and the copies of the checks.
Not happening.
What's
not
not
with
happening?
these bills? Not with these bills. This isn't happening with these bills.
Well, I've detailed the photographs of the damage.
I could see what... I'm going to look at the photographs now. You're not so far... Where are the photographs? There they are.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Twitter.
Do you know how this tile got broken, sir?
Yes, the tile got broken. Something fell off the mantle onto the tile, and
what fell off the mantle?
It was an ashtray, I think.
That you put there?
Yes.
Okay, so you're responsible for this tile?
Yes.
The repair of this tile?
I researched the tile, and it was about a $10 brick.
Well, I don't know. They
Maybe.
probably have to match it, try to match it, which is probably going to be difficult. How much did you pay to repair the broken tile?
I had a workman, and it's an old 1926 tile, and I always try and keep the property as original as possible. So he went down to Malibu Tile. He could not find a match. Then he took a similar tile, cut it down to that size, and painted it. Not very well.
The broken tile is going to eat up your $102.
Maybe.
Reasonable. Now we're up to $5,500, which is the amount you have. What about this deadbolt lock? Did you install one or you took one out?
It had been removed by the tenant during the course of the tenancy. And when we looked at the door, we realized that somebody had presumably locked themselves out and they'd shouldered into the door. So that's probably why the lock was removed. But also at the top of the door, the frame of the cathedral door had been cracked.
Apartment, sir. He lived there for 5 years. Most of what you're complaining about is wear and tear. Normal wear and tear on the apartment. He's not...
Yeah, but shouldering a door is not normal wear and tear.
I don't know if that's what happened.
Okay.
That's what you're presuming.
Well, you can look at the pictures. The pictures, I would think, would tell the story.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They don't tell me the story.
There was a lot of other stuff that was left as well, including a drawer full of bongs and pipes.
Did you leave that?
No, that's totally false.
You got your money, sir. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
What? Sorry?
We're done. He's not refurbishing your apartment. We're finished.
Party excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Because all the neighbors were complaining about him.
He said that I have loud parties, but I talked to my neighbors, they're all my friends.
That he was throwing parties, loud parties.
They said they would never go to court against me.
The neighbor upstairs had...
and it was all just made up.
Been woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
They always try to raise the rent on me and try to kick me out several times.
To discover Paul and his roommate.
It's all made up. He's trying to, like, put me on the spot.
Apparently doing cocaine on the table there.
He's trying to make me look like a bad person, but I don't do any drugs.
But I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I'm glad to be gone and never have to deal with his again. Sorry.
You hired the defendant to set up a website for a business that you were contemplating.
Setting up shop online was the easy part.
The site is essentially done.
The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job.
But revelations could crash his plans.
His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be under the radar.
So you collect Social Security disability?
I do.
Got it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Turner is suing his former co-worker, Marcus Montgomery, for failing to build his website.
Order. All rise. It's case number 294 on the calendar, the matter of Turner versus Montgomery.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Turner, you hired the defendant to set up a website for a business that you were contemplating. The business was some sort of selling T-shirts. You paid him some upfront money, and then you made another payment to him and claimed that he didn't set up the website for you. You want your money back.
Correct.
That's what the case is about. Mr. Montgomery said he spent innumerable hours working on your web. Came to fruition because you didn't provide him with certain data that he needed in order to complete the job. That's your defense.
Correct.
Okay, great. So first, let's start out by saying I know very little about setting up a website. So I'm going to do this in a relatively simplistic way for me so that I understand it. When did you hire him to build this website for you?
August 31st, 2015.
And how much did you pay him at that time?
At that time was $1,800.
And then you made an additional payment to him?
Correct.
On what date?
September the 15th, 2015.
Now, when you paid him the additional amount of money, which was what sum?
$1,695.
I assume, sir, that you looked to see what he had done so far.
There was no.
You didn't? Well, if I gave somebody $1,800 and they said they needed the balance of the money, I would say, let me see what you did so far. And you didn't do that.
Correct.
Why?
I was on the understanding that the $1,800 was needed for his two people that were working on the team. And I, at that point, was part of phase one. And
well, that part of phase one, but in September, should have had something for you to look at.
I did have a under construction site that was put up.
Could I see it? Did for him too, up until September 15th. Thank you. Okay, and it's called Sportswear Alley?
Correct.
And you were going to sell caps, junior athletic wear, outdoor sportswear?
No, it was just football jerseys, Your Honor.
So like this?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Oh. Did you ever see these?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Sportswear Alley, Coach's Corner. It only costs $25 a month. What is that?
That was something that Jeff and I discussed, where he would have an insider report for fanatical football fans, people that are really into football. They would get injury reports on the week. They would get team forecasts and other information about what their team of choice was doing.
Did you ever show him these?
No, he never asked to see them. And the thing is those jerseys did not go up until February of this year, because he didn't give me the list of jerseys he wanted. And here's the email from him, Your Honor. The date is February 9th of 2016. 5.5 months later is when I get the list of jerseys that he wanted done.
Terrific. Do you remember sending this to him?
Your Honor, and that was the list of the 100 jerseys that he was supplying me on the website of the players' jerseys that I wanted.
So in February, you had this communication with him. You supplied him with the jerseys. As a result of that, you did this?
I've done the whole thing, Your Honor. There's 8 pages of jerseys. The whole 100 have been loaded. The problem is I got that this year in February. It was done by March. The whole problem with this is the site is essentially done, but he has never provided me a payment method to where someone can pay and they'll get a jersey. I mean, he hasn't given me something that will...
So is what you're telling me that at this point, the only thing you need from the plaintiff, because the site is completed, is for him to open an account with Visa, for instance,
and that was...
or MasterCard or PayPal or whatever people use these days. What is it, Bitcoin or whatever else it is, and say, this is the way you have to pay for your jersey. Am I correct? I don't know. I've never ordered anything
Sounds
online.
right.
So is that what you're missing?
Yes, that's one thing I'm missing, Your Honor, but here's the whole issue. When we first started this, I told Jeff, I need you to go down to Secretary of State, take the name Sportswear Alley, get a DBA, go to your bank, and open up an account. His response was, I do not want Social Security to know that I'm running this business. I want it to be under the radar card, I guess. And the card has never worked. So that's one thing I need. The second thing I need is to know what type of jerseys these are. If you look, Your Honor, on those jerseys, you'll see that there's a default price of $5, and you'll see there's no description.
Oh, I understand. How old are you, sir?
I am 53 years old.
Well, you're certainly much too young to collect Social Security, so you collect Social Security disability.
I do. And
how long have you been collecting Social Security?
25 years, Your Honor.
And if you make a certain amount of money, that disability stops.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Got it. Got it.
Your Honor, I supplied a card for him.
What kind of card,
It was
sir?
a debit card. The plan was that, in even thinking about building this, is that I wanted to eventually challenge myself to get off of Social Security.
Well, that's very nice, but then you should have taken his advice. The first thing you have to do is register your name.
Oh.
The next thing you have to do is go and open a bank account in the name of that LLC, corporation, or whatever it is, so that if people want to purchase something, they know that you are a legitimate company.
Understand?
He says that the site is ready. Is the site ready except for the billing method?
The billing method?
And the price of the jerseys.
The price, and also I need to know if they're going to be under each jersey of what it is so the customer knows what they're buying. He's never provided that. On the first 2 pages, he's supposed to provide me with just rough content.
I just want to know.
And I'll put it up for him.
Okay, fine. So what you're here for, Mr. Turner, is a premature action. The first thing you have to do is register the name. Have you done that? The answer is yes or no.
No, Your Honor.
Well, you have to do that. Secretary of State, wherever that is, will research the name and see if that name is available. You don't even know if that name is available. What if somebody else has the name Sportswear Alley?
Sportswear Alley got picked up and then released because it was taken hostage, Your Honor.
What does that
What I
mean?
mean by taken hostage is that the name was taken and held for sale for $570 on the...
Mr. Turner, are you saying that the domain name... domain name...
Correct.
Somebody owns it, and they wanted money for it when you went to GoDaddy? I mean, I understand that. I've done that. I understand. Somebody explained that to me. You're here prematurely, sir. The man did what he was supposed to do. You haven't finished your job. Then, if he doesn't deliver the website after you give him what he needs, you can come back. But you have to register the name. You have to go in a Sportswear Alley, because Secretary of State's going to know who the shareholders are in Sportswear Alley. We're going to be all above the radar. So if your business takes off, or even if it doesn't take off big, if it takes off little, then the Secretary of State will notify the federal government, and the federal government will say, well, he's evident clearly Mr. Turner is not so disabled because he's running a business and he's making money. So you have to provide the defendant what he needs to finish your website. Do you understand?
I understand. Can I interject something, Your Honor?
All I want to know is, do you understand what you have to provide him?
Yes, I...
Good. Did you provide him those things?
I have not. On August the 28th, I went over. I wanted to see and prove over the past year before I filed this. I wanted to see and prove what he had. And he said, I can't show you that.
Oh, I'd like to see it. Can you show it to me?
Yeah, I can show you.
Great.
And, Your Honor, one of the problems with Jeff just showing up at my house...
No, I don't care about that. Just show me what you have. So just so that we're clear, while he's looking for that, Mr. Turner, what he needs from you is a legitimate method of payment, which requires you taking several steps, which you haven't done. Second, he requires the price of each shirt, and he requires a description of each shirt, whether they're cotton, whether they're mesh, whether they're solid, whether they're embroidered, when you provided it to him.
This is just the front page, Your Honor. You can hit the side, and it'll take you tab. It'll take you to separate pages. And that domain, sportswearalley.com, I currently own that domain, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, so you own it, but you're prepared to give it to him?
Yeah, I don't want it.
Okay, fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
I don't think she really moved out May 19th, because that means that she moved out in between our birthdays.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house at the end
Yes,
of
ma'am.
May?
Yes, Your Honor.
See, usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Turner says former co-worker Marcus Montgomery never completed the website he paid him to build.
Now, what do I do? Up and down or side to side?
Yeah, you can go up and down, and then you can go. You can hit on the side to go to different. And all 8 divisions that he wanted, all 100 jerseys, are on this site. They just don't have any description and don't have any pricing.
By the way, where are you going to get these jerseys from, Mr. Turner?
Mr. Montgomery was supposed to negotiate with manufacturers as to where, because I don't have the slightest idea where I was to get these from. He told me when I went over there, he might...
What have you done in the past year?
In the past year, I have been waiting on seeing this, at the very least, the site that, it's showing product.
Okay. That's what you have to do. I've already told you what you have to do. Your case is dismissed, Mr. Turner. Without prejudice, you can come back once you've complied with everything that he says he needs, which are three things. A proper method of billing, which is recognized by the Secretary of State in the state where you live. The price of the T-shirts and a description of the T-shirts. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel that he didn't do his due diligence to find out what is entailed in starting a business.
Sounds like I've, more money of an investment.
And the licensure is a big deal.
That's one of the things that that was shown.
It's prohibitively expensive to start it.
After I had given the money.
And I think you should have researched that before you...
because I was going into it blindly.
Before he jumped in with both feet.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Simpson versus Mullins. Step forward.
Doris Simpson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Ulysses Mullins, for unpaid rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
Miss Simpson, the defendant took you in with your children, is that right?
Yes.
And you had a relationship with him for several months?
Incorrect.
3-month period, you and your kids lived in his... You have a home or an apartment?
Apartment, ma'am.
Where had you lived prior to moving in with Mr. Mullins?
I was in my own residence in Burnsville.
And what happened with that residence?
When I met the party, we agreed to move in together, and so I gave up my home to move in with him.
So you were paying rent?
Yes.
In what month did you move in with him?
At the beginning of April.
What?
Can I please say something? I just wanted to clarify, Your Honor, when me and Ms. Simpson met, she was actually in transition from moving from her place in Burnsville. And when she moved in, her and her family moved in with me. They were actually living in this hotel, and she was paying like $80, $90 a week. I told her she can help me, we can...
Just a second. Were you living in a hotel?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
2.
How old are they?
8 and 3. But at that time, I only had one child, and that was the 2-year-old.
Okay. Did you pay him any rent in April?
No, I didn't.
Did you pay him any rent in May?
Yes.
How much?
$215.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Did she pay you any rent in May?
No, ma'am.
What about in June?
Yes, ma'am.
How much rent did she pay you in June?
She paid me a total of $400.
What date in June?
June, let's say the middle of June, June 15th.
Do you know when there came a time when Mr. Mullins asked you and your children to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you ever move back into the house with your children? Not. Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Doris Simpson says ex-boyfriend Ulysses Mullins owes for rent, hotel costs, and a broken tablet.
How long after the $400 did he ask you to leave?
The money was given around May, maybe the 19th, and then I came back for a couple of days, and then I was put out.
I don't know what you want.
Well, I'm asking for my rent because for June, and I gave him a total of $400 altogether, and that was for May and June. It wasn't no $400 for June. So I did pay rent for May and June, and I'm suing for the June part because I was kicked out at the end of May.
You didn't pay any rent in April?
No, I didn't.
You lived there April and May, 2 months?
Partially of May.
Well, on what date did you leave in May?
Oh, May 19th, I'm sorry.
Is that when she left?
Yes, Your Honor, that sounds about... And also...
Just a minute, when did she move back in?
To be honest, I don't think she really moved out May 19th because that means that she moved out in between our birthdays, and she was still living with me for her birthday into June. Her birthday is at the end of May, mine is in the beginning. And this is my first time hearing about May 19th. And she moved in my home in February.
Okay.
So I want to say she moved out in June.
How much was she supposed to pay you in rent?
The agreement that we had was when she do get situated, it was going to be $200 a month towards the rent. And then, I think we talked about like...
Fine.
Yes.
$200 for rent. When's your birthday?
My birthday's on May the 29th.
Did you take her out for her birthday?
No, ma'am.
Was she still living in your house?
Yes, ma'am.
In the end of May?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
See, usually men don't have a memory for that. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So you were living there minimally for 2 months. He said you actually moved in February.
No.
You say you moved in the beginning of April.
Yes.
But you paid him no rent in April.
Yes.
And you paid him $400 in May, and you lived there until the end of May.
In the middle of May.
No, you were there for your birthday. He remembers that.
I was not there for my birthday.
Where were you for your birthday?
I was at a friend's house for my birthday.
How are you so certain she was there on her birthday?
I remember the day. I remember the days following up to it, and maybe a week or two after that, after her
what?
birthday.
After her birthday.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I want you to tell me about this tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I want you to tell me about this tablet that you claim the defendant broke.
Yes, I was coming over to work things out with...
On what date?
Probably the last week in August.
So you came to his house?
Yes.
Did you ever move back into the house with your children?
Not.
Did you ever stay over between the beginning of June and August? Did you ever stay over at the defendant's house? He's looking at you.
No, I did not.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
Well, I have verification, so... I have proof that I was not in his home overnight.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, here you go. And prior to that, like I said, I was...
Just a second. This says that you didn't move in there until June 25th.
Right, and that's why, because I was staying with a friend.
You moved in there June 25th.
Right.
Okay, would you give this back to her, please? Very good. Now, you went over there to try to work things out in August. Had he invited you over?
Yes.
Okay, you came over by yourself or with the children?
By myself.
Okay, what time?
It was maybe during the day.
What do you mean maybe during the day? What
about
is that?
11 or 12.
Okay, and you came over, and what happened?
I was walking as he let me in his front door because, you know, he has to come and let me in. So as he was coming in to let me in, we're walking down this long hall to get to his apartment. And kind of like halfway to his apartment, he kind of grabs my belongings out the side of my, like, on the side of me, and that's when my tablet has slipped out onto the floor / apartment into the hall.
So it fell?
Yes.
Are we finished here? Are we
no,
done?
No, Your Honor. I also have a counter suit.
Forget it. You have a counterclaim for supporting her and her children for the months she was living with you. I don't want to hear it. Two people decide to live together. It doesn't work out. They go their separate ways. She's not entitled to any rent back because your agreement was she was supposed to pay $200 a month rent, which is exactly what she did. And there was nothing vicious about what happened with your tablet that fell to the ground that was wrapped up in your sweater, right?
Yes, but he was horseplaying, though.
We're done. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Something of mine.
She actually dropped her tablet herself. She had it in her arm like this.
He should replace it. That's it.
And as I was removing the items from her hand, being a gentleman,
he was like, he'll pay for it.
She did this and it fell, and it's not my fault.
There's no more continue as a friendship.
I got to protect my heart.
I wish him the best.
It really just describes her character and her personality.
This bloody pussy mess is how this puppy came to me.
You don't know what you're doing.
Puppy problems from an inexperienced breeder.
You have a dog that's aggressive. It bites one of the puppies on the ear. The puppy eventually lost the ear.
Are more little dogs in danger?
Her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying to people.
All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kara Albers is suing Kimberly Parker for breach of contract regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds.
Order. All rise. Ms. Parker.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Albers, what do you do for a living?
I collect SSI for heart disease.
And you?
I'm a dog groomer.
And you also breed dogs?
Occasionally.
You bought a dog from Miss Parker. When?
Approximately the middle of March, I responded to a no cow for sale ad.
And she was selling German Shepherd puppies?
Not at the time. I just bought the adult female.
So she had an adult female for sale?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was the dog?
4.
And why were you selling her?
She didn't get along with one of my other dogs, and it was creating a safety issue.
Had you ever had a litter with her?
No.
How long had you had her since she was a puppy?
I had her about a year and a half.
Where did you get her from?
I got her from a breeder who had, believe her original story was that she had been returned. Someone was going to breed her, but then they had some kind of home issues, so they returned the dog. So the woman who bred her sold her to me.
So you got her when she was 2.5?
Yes.
And you never bred her?
No.
Well, why didn't you have her neutered within the year and a half that you had her?
I had attempted to breed her, but it didn't take for whatever reason. But if I had spayed her, then her price would have gone up as well. And then
what do you mean her price would have gone up?
Because it costs more to spay her, so I would have had to cover the cost of the spay, and also it's easier spayed. And
how much did you pay for her?
$1,000, but I got her in package with another dog. But I don't have that other dog anymore.
What did you do with the other dog?
He actually was returned to the breeder. She wanted him back. She had first rights or whatever, and she called me up. One of her males had died, and she wanted that one back, so I agreed to give him back to her.
Okay, this is what happened. This is what this lawsuit is about. You, who have absolutely no idea what you're doing, decided to breed this dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you sold this dog to her, did you enter into a contract with her?
The original...
Just a second. That's either a yes or a no. Did you enter into a contract with her?
Yes.
In writing, as breeders do. I know. I bought many. And if you're buying a dog, they will either sell a dog as a pet, and it's at a certain price. If you're buying a dog for the purpose of breeding the dog and you want the papers, it's a different price, and that's in writing. So my question is, did you have a written contract with her?
We didn't write it down because when she finished paying for the dog, it was supposed to be the bill of sale as well.
So show it to me.
She never signed it because she never finished paying for the dog.
How much was the dog?
The dog was $150 on a no cow for sale website, which I have.
Can I see
the actual?
So you were selling the dog for $150. How much did you, Miss Albers? How much did you pay her?
I paid her $50 when we picked the dog up with my husband, and we agreed to pay at a later date. And when
did you ever pay her the $150?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you got your $150 for the dog that you say you sold as a pet.
No, actually, because when we went outside, she gave me the money, and I put it in my pocket because I didn't want to count it there. We went outside, and it was a $20 bill with a bunch of ones in the middle, and when I asked her about it, she said it was because she didn't want Gary to know that the insurance on their Suburban had expired and that she needed to pay the insurance on that, and she didn't want him to know because he didn't know the insurance had left.
So she gave you $50,
so
and how much
she gave me $25 plus, so $24.
So she actually paid you $75 for the dog. I believe her. I actually believe her. Nobody makes up that kind of story.
Well,
Put your hand down.
Yes. I had...
First of all, you have no business breeding dogs if you know nothing about it. Okay, so what you did was you took this dog, and then later you called her up and said you wanted to use one of her male dogs as a stud. You agreed to that. I don't care what excuse you're going to make. You agreed to that because she didn't come over in the middle of the night and put the two dogs together. You agreed to let her use dog as stud. Now, what you say is you usually get pick of litter for that, and you said to her, because I sold the dog to you as a pet, and now you want to breed the dog and make money, I want a second pick of litter.
Yes.
That's actually perfectly reasonable, and she consented to that.
Yes.
So you get 2 from the litter. Now you have this litter of puppies that you have no idea what to do with them, and now you have a dog that's demonstrated that it was aggressive, that's never been successfully bred, and the first thing it does is it bites one of the puppies on the ear. And it bites that puppy so badly so that the puppy eventually lost the ear, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the puppies that you took or not?
Yes, it is.
Just a second. It's one of the puppies that you took.
That she surrendered to me because she couldn't get him veterinary care.
Just a second. At some point, did you go to the house to look at the puppies?
I did go to...
On what date?
The same day that she surrendered the first...
What date?
Oh, what date was that?
October 3rd.
Do you remember?
October 3rd.
And when had your dog had the litter?
On September the 4th and 5th.
How many?
7.
All living?
Oh, yes. It took like a day and a half to deliver.
Okay. A month later, you noticed that one of the puppies had been bitten by the mother.
Yes,
and you called her.
Yes.
And asked her to come over?
No.
What did you do?
I asked her, what can I do? Because I know she was a groomer and works for a vet. And it was really early in the morning. She was apparently getting ready to go to work. And she asked me to meet her.
With the puppy?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I gave it to him. He was supposedly supposed to meet another lady who was a vet tech. Her name was Barb something. And which apparently he did go there. But Miss Parker called me back and said that it was out of her expertise because he was too severe. So we were calling around different vets. I was calling. I'd call my friend up to get some money. And then she said, well, meet my other friend. So we met her at Dunkin' Donuts, which is the witness at Dunkin' Donuts on Pine Street. We gave the puppy to her. She supposedly was supposed to take it. I had a vision that she had some veterinary skills as well.
Whatever. You had no idea. You and your husband had no idea what to do. I mean, it's a month-old puppy.
Well,
you can find a vet. It will cost you. Listen to me.
Her.
Listen to me. You can find a vet, Miss Albers.
Yes.
All it is, it will cost you money.
Yes.
Now, when you gave her your puppy that was injured on your watch,
yes.
How much money did you give her to take care of the vet bill?
I asked her to provide me a vet bill, and she never did.
Just
I
a
had
second.
full intentions to pay it.
Just a second. If you had full intentions of paying it, then what did you need to meet her in Dunkin' Donuts?
Because she asked me to take it to her vet, because she works there.
Just a second. She wouldn't have even known the puppy was injured if you didn't call her. What did you have to call her for? I'm thinking, if I'm breeding the puppies and they're 4 weeks old, they're not just born, they're 4 weeks old, and one of them is injured, I put it in my car without a lot of drama, and I take it to the vet. Who had seen these puppies? He told you these are the puppy shots that the dog should have. So you didn't take the puppies to a vet. And did you ever take the dog to a vet when she was pregnant?
No.
No.
I went to get her x-rayed, and I decided not to. They told me they had to do
Just a sec. Don't tell me what they told you. The answer is you never took the dog to a vet.
No.
So when you found out the puppy was pregnant, you said, I could deal with this myself.
Yes.
And you never took the dog to a vet, and you never took the puppies to a vet. And when one of the puppies was injured, you didn't take the puppy to a vet. You called her.
Because she works for a vet, so I figured...
Doesn't matter.
I took her to my vet, but she said take it to hers.
You could take the puppy to her vet. All you needed was money.
I did have money.
Well, I don't see you spending any money.
No, because I asked her for a vet bill, and she never provided me one.
I'm going to ask you a couple of other questions before I say to you, goodbye. You had several puppies that you sold.
3.
How old were they when you sold them?
8 weeks. I'd gotten the money...
Just a second. You sold them at 8 weeks. What was the name and address of the vet that you took the puppies to for their first shots to be dewormed before you sold them? The name of the vet.
I had...
There are only 2 things you can say. This is the name of the vet, and this is where the vet is, or I didn't take them to a vet before I sold them.
I did not take them to a vet before I sold them.
Breeding dogs. You don't know what you're doing. And it's particularly frustrating for people who really love animals and who understand that it's the person that has the responsibility to take a puppy and have it checked out, give it its first puppy shot, make sure it doesn't have parvovirus, make sure it can go out. It's all of these things. You can't just stand there and say, well, I think I'm going to do this. That's ridiculous. You sold 3 puppies. As far as I'm concerned, you had no right to do that. How much did you sell the puppies for?
I sold one of them for $800 because of our agreement.
Just a second. You sold one for $800,
yes,
and that's one.
The other 2 were for $5.
And it cost you no money.
That's not true, because I bought their shots at a feed store, which actually Miss Parker suggested I could do, and Tractor Supply was a call, and I also bought the dewormer.
Just a second. You don't know what you're doing.
Feed store sells parvo shot virus. It's $8, and they come and you do it yourself, like giving an insulin shot.
If somebody shows you what to do, if you go to a vet and you get some instruction, not from somebody who runs a feed store.
Well, it says it in the envelope when you buy the shot.
Please give me a break.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The injury was made worse by the fact that she didn't treat it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
Just a second, can I see that?
And later today.
How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Albers says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Now, you have 10 seconds to tell me what you're suing her for.
Well, when we came into the agreement with the second pick of litter, I was supposed to get the papers because Kira was never...
You're not getting any papers. I hope that you don't breed the dog again.
I didn't want to.
Good. Next, what else are you suing her for?
That's it.
That's it. Good. So your case is dismissed. You have a ridiculous countersuit. You got 4 puppies, right?
Yes.
4. You got pick of litter. You got the second dog, which you are entitled to. Now, you got 2 other dogs. One has 1 ear. Did you sell that puppy?
No, we donated him to Dogs for Heroes.
So that dog you donated to someone?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do with the 3rd dog? Was that dog also injured?
Yes.
How?
Her ear, I have pictures of her ear the day.
That was the second dog that...
This is the picture she sent me that morning of the dog who she said the mother bit him. The injury was made worse by the fact that she didn't treat it for days. She didn't tell me about it for days. This bloody, pussy mess is how this puppy came to me. It was.
Is that the one that you donated?
Yes, that's the one that we donated, Vincent Van Gogh.
And the second puppy, what did you do with the second puppy?
I still have her.
Did you sell the pick of litter?
I haven't sold him. I've had a couple of people asking about him, but I didn't want to advertise them until after the ears were mostly healed.
Did they have shots?
Yes, I have their health certificates with me here because in the state of Florida, you cannot sell a dog without the proper health certificates that they obtain at 8 weeks old from a licensed veterinarian. The shots that her and I discussed that I was originally supposed to help her with is that some breeders choose to and some don't. I'm one that does choose to give them shots at 6 weeks old because it takes 2 weeks for the immunizations to start working, and the puppies are ready for new homes at 8 weeks. So I wanted to make sure that they had, built up some immunity, and by the time they got their second shots from a licensed veterinarian. She has them advertised on Facebook at 5 weeks old saying that, oh, they're 8 weeks old and they're ready to go to new homes. I have the screenshots of her selling them at 5 weeks old and lying. Oh, they're not, because animal control went to her house.
Yeah, they were at my dad's, and I told Uncle Joel that.
These are the pictures of when she says right there that they'll be ready for homes on Halloween, and then here's her saying on October 11th that they're ready for homes now. She says that she has 1 puppy left.
Yeah, because people already paid for them, so they were not available.
Animal control went to her house.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
What's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left.
Nonsense. This is under the sink?
Correct, Your Honor.
Nonsense. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor. There was some damage.
Fix it!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Alberts says Kimberly Parker breached their agreement regarding the breeding of their German Shepherds. Kimberly is countersuing for the value of 3 puppies, the return of a dog, and harassment.
Okay, well, this was September 18th. All these babies are now AKC registered. Well, that's not true.
Exactly. That was after the... And so I listed it that way. That's the only reason why I bred the dog.
Your case is dismissed. We're done here. You're ahead of the game.
All these are excused. You may step out.
Some people shouldn't be dog owners, period.
No, my dog's going to get fixed, and
I didn't know the kind of person she is.
I'll never do this again because I lost so much out of this.
She's a liar and a thief.
It was unfounded because I was not being cruel to my animals.
And now I don't know what the future holds in store for my dog.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tao versus Bradford Betts. Step forward.
Sharon Tao is suing her former landlords, Harold Bradford and Margot Betts, for the return of her security deposit.
Ms. Tao, when did you become a tenant of the defendants?
February 14, 2015.
And when did you leave?
May 30th, 2016.
According to your complaint, you had a $2,700 security deposit with
Correct.
the defendants. When your tenancy concluded, they returned only part of that.
Correct.
How much did they return to you?
A little over $1,500.
And I understand that you did not cash that check.
I did not.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. And you did not cash the check because it was not the full amount? And
Correct.
You believe...
I did. I had it repainted. I had vacuumed, cleaned.
And I assume you have photographs?
I do.
Of when you left?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Is this Ms. Tao, is this all you received from the defendant?
Yes.
There was no itemized thing in here, no statement?
There was another part that they did give me.
Was it in the same envelope?
No, it was in a different envelope with no post date. They put it in my P.O. box.
Do you have a copy of the itemized list of what was wrong?
Yes.
A copy of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see it?
Here it is right here.
Okay, good. You don't have to give it to me. She found it.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing.
But those are the zippers. Okay.
But it's not.
Would you show these photographs to the defendant, please? Okay, this is the itemized list. Let me take a look at it. Now I'd like to see your photographs.
Yes, I like to zipper these.
I took the photographs with my phone, which does have a date on the photographs.
I mean, because I'm looking at the list that you sent it to her, and it's mostly nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. What's wrong with the porch?
There was some damage on the concrete that she left stain.
Nonsense. This is under the sink?
Correct, Your Honor.
Nonsense. Carpet looks perfectly fine to me. Some of the grout was coming out on the kitchen floor?
Yes, Your Honor. There was some damage
Fix it! How long have you been landlords?
I've been a landlord for 30 years, Your Honor.
Well, maybe you've been getting away with this kind of nonsense, but you're not going to get away with this kind of nonsense here. She returned this property to you according to your photographs. Broom clean. Not perhaps ready for a new tenant without having you go in there and doing a cleaning. That's what you're supposed to do. She's supposed to leave the place broom clean, no holes in the walls, no wine stains on the carpet. It's your responsibility as landlord to deliver a new place in spotless condition. It's not her responsibility to deliver your premise in a spotless condition to a new tenant. She returned this premises to you in really good shape.
The fact she left it, but we had to spend money to correct her problem. We had odor in the house. We had to paint the walls, Your Honor, to get the odor out. We could not rent that property out to anybody else. We spent over $2,200 trying to get that place back in place.
She gets her security deposit back. That's it. Anything else?
I feel that, Your Honor, that we spend
Just a second. You take this check, cash it.
Okay.
Good. Perfect. So we're going to return that to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. We're done.
Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We definitely spent money trying to correct her problem with that unit.
They're just not really good landlords.
The unit where we had foul in the walls and in the unit. We also have dirty carpet.
They just wanted the rent.
And we spent over $2,200 in damages trying to correct that.
Stick to your guns. Get your money.
Continue being a good landlord.
You lived in the house with your kids, rent-free?
I'm the only one that has all these years been right beside her.
Her former in-laws kept her busy.
I would cook them breakfast every morning, take care of them. Then I would go to work, come home.
Now, will she pay dearly for her kindness?
Your former mother-in-law says that she lent you $1,200.
She never would say I had to pay her back.
Do you have a car?
She took the car back.
Judge Judy.
About to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Joyce Knighton is suing her former daughter-in-law, Carolyn Knighton, for unpaid loans.
Order. All rise. Case number 327 on the calendar in the matter of Knighton versus Knighton.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Knighton, this is your former mother-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your ex-husband?
No, ex-brother-in-law.
And you enjoyed a close relationship with your former mother-in-law. You have a couple of kids with her son, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And even after you and her son separated, according to you, she was supportive of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Took care of you, even took you into her house. So far, am I getting it right? So far?
Yes, ma'am.
Most of which she did not ask you for compensation. You lived in the house with your kids rent-free?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
So she let you live there rent-free, and whatever you made, you were able to take care of your kids. Do you have a car?
No, I don't.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
But then in January of this year, your former mother-in-law says that she lent you $1,200.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she, in fact, exchange, I won't use the word give, a sum of money in January?
Yes.
How much?
It was different amounts. I'm not real sure.
It wasn't one check or one amount of money? It was...
No, ma'am. It was just different times that she knew I needed money. She would call and tell me that she would give it to me. She didn't ever say I had to pay it back.
Am I correct in January? Is she correct that you didn't give her one check for $1,200?
Not a check.
Cash?
Uh-huh.
Was it at one time?
Yes.
Tell me about it, Mrs. Knighton.
Well, she was trying to get on her feet, so that she needed the $1,200 to get... Well, she used it for...
No, tell me about giving her $1,200. Did you
Right.
give it to her in a check or did you give it to her in cash?
Cash.
All at one time?
Yes, ma'am.
You kept $1,200 at one lump sum in the house?
Not at my house. I had to get it out of my bank.
So you took out $1,200 in cash and gave it to her all at one time?
Yes.
She's saying no, so I want you to think, because she acknowledges you gave her money.
Yes.
But not at one time.
Well, yeah, it was at one time.
Okay. So you gave her $1,200 at one time.
Right.
Was she moving into an apartment?
Well, yes, she was getting out, moving into her own place. So whatever the apartment.
Me and my husband moved into a house.
When were you remarried?
March.
Of what year?
2016.
Okay.
My husband's left since this.
I know why a man leaves.
You're right.
You moved out in January. Who did you move in with?
Me and my husband were living with her because my...
Well, but you weren't married then?
No. My ex-father-in-law was dying, and Papa asked us to come up there and stay, and I would cook them breakfast every morning, take care of them, do what I had to do for Papa and her. Then I would go to work, come home, still cook for them, give them their medicine. She would give me money, but she never would say I had to pay her back. I mean, it was give and take. And now that she's broke, she has Papa's passed, and I know that she is lonely, and I'm the only one that has all these years been right beside her.
Other than the $1,200, you said that you gave her another large sum of money. When was that?
$350.
That was breaks.
Shh.
That was like in June.
Yeah, something like that. But she said she would pay me back. Now, she did say she would pay me back.
It was for breaks, but she took the car back.
When
and I
did
never
she take
said I
it?
would pay her back.
When did she take the car back?
She's been trying to take it back for months, and we had...
well, whose car was it?
It was mine. I've been paying $500 a month for 3 years. Her name is on it, though, because I couldn't get it. I didn't have the credit. She signed for it and just said if I pay for it, don't let her down, and I've been paying for it every month. My husband's paid for it. We paid over $15,000. We shop and screamed, yelled, called the police, told them that I couldn't have the car.
Is it true that the $350 was for brakes on the car? What was it for?
The $350, she just said she needed $350.
Your name was on the title to the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You took it back? Where is the car now?
The car's still sitting at the repair place.
Since June?
No.
No.
Since Monday.
The car went into repair in June?
No.
When?
Last week. Not last week, week before. It was done Monday. Monday.
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're now in November. The $350 she said she gave you was in June, and it couldn't have been for brakes for the car.
No,
June, July, August.
The brakes were broke in June, but she offered...
Just a second. And is that what you needed the $350 for parts for the car?
It was, yeah, for the brakes. But she was sitting there when I was talking to my husband. She said, I'll give it to you. And she went and got the money.
In June, $350.
But she took the car back, so...
Do you have any proof that you gave her $1,200 in January?
Well, I have it right here on these. $1,200.
Your Honor, when my son was in prison, she was sending my son $1,000 PayPal cards, $800 PayPal cards. This is one reason I told her I could not be in contact with her anymore when he was on drugs, and the police put him in prison so he would get better. And she kept sending him money, $600, $500.
This has nothing to do with $1,200.
Well, this is where it was taken out using the debit
I never
card.
There's a cash withdrawal on January 14th of $1,221. Who's Billy?
That was my husband. He's deceased now.
I don't know what these...
The ones that are marked are the ones where there was money taken out for her.
I don't care about that. That's not what you're suing for.
Yeah, it's all the money. It's all the money.
No. Then we're a little confused here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be confused. That was my question to you, whether you gave her little bits at a time, $100 here, $25 there, $122 there, or if you gave her $1,200 in one lump sum. You said you gave it to her in one lump sum. That's not indicated here, except there is a withdrawal in January for $1,221 from an account. I don't know what that's for, but all this other, I'm not interested in these things. Do you understand? She owes you so far $350, which she acknowledges you did give her in June. Anything else? Are we done?
Yes, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm moving on with my life.
I can't ever trust her again.
When people are giving it to you when you're struggling, you take it.
She's lied so many times.
I love her, but it's time to close the chapter.
I'm going to have to cut contact with her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wallen versus Brown. Step forward.
Stephen Wallen is suing his ex-girlfriend, Laura Brown, for the return or value of a tractor.
Mr. Wallen, what kind of work do you do, sir?
I own a truck and I run up and down the road, basically truck driver.
And you have your own home that you own or rent?
Own.
When did you purchase it?
January of 2016.
Tell me about the house.
It's a small two-bedroom house in an older community.
On how much property?
I think it's about 75 by 100, I believe.
How many other homes are in the community?
A lot. I don't know. Hundreds.
Do you each take care of your own property, or is there a community that takes care of
it? No, you each take care of your own property.
Okay, so now I have that. And you, Miss Brown, you live in a rural area on several acres. How many acres?
I have just over 3 acres.
What do you do on this land?
It's just property.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
Okay, this is what the case is about. Now that I have the particulars, all the things that I need to help me resolve this case. Mr. Whelan, you and at some time towards the end of 2015, Miss Brown invited a friend to come and live or stay with the two of you. And that friend's name is Miriam. Is that right?
She actually moved in October of 2014.
She was just a friend of yours?
She was my best friend.
Okay. And Miriam would be the first name of you. Is that right? Shortly after she moved in, Mr. Whelan and Miriam became more than friends. At some point in January of 2016, you, according to him, you locked him out. You said, I had enough. You want Miriam? You can have Miriam and me. This is not the way I'm going to live. Goodbye. So far, is that generally the Reader's Digest version?
Yes.
And now he and Miriam live together. Do you live together, Miriam?
Yes, we do.
Along with Mr. Wallen. Fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you take a truck with you is my question.
Yeah, the truck I paid for, and the house that I paid for that she's still living in.
Are you really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Listen, there are certain things that you can't help, and one of those things is stupid.
And later today.
I don't know why your wife was so angry with you, sir. Maybe she had a good reason to be angry with you.
She did.
Then what she wanted to do was embarrass you.
I felt that was the case, yes.
That's no question about that.
People, Judge Judy.
Stephen Wallen says ex-girlfriend Laura Brown owes for the return or value of a tractor. Laura is countersuing for the return of payments made on a truck.
Okay, so this is what the case is about. The two of you lived together as a couple for 9 years. Now, when you lived together as a couple, Mr. Whelan, when you got paid from your trucking business, what did you do with the money?
The money went in the bank, and Miss Brown had
checking or savings?
A joint checking account until May of 2015.
Okay, so for most of the relationship, you had a joint checking account?
Yes.
Where you put your money and she put her money?
No.
She didn't put any money in there?
She did put some. She had her own account besides.
That's okay, but she put some money in there?
Yes.
We have courts for people who get married, sir, and divorce, and then we have equitable distribution or community property. We do not have courts nor judges who are willing to waste their time for two people who choose to live together, and then when they break up for whatever reason, they want somebody else, some stranger, I am a stranger, to figure out their financial mess. We don't have that, because this is what your case is about. She locked you out of the house, and you say she won't let you take a tractor that is yours, that you paid for. She says everything was paid for sort of together. She's got a counterclaim. She says you took a trust for those.
She neglects to mention the 2014 Jetta and the 2007 Taurus.
Just a second. I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I don't care. You lived together for 9 years. You shared a bank account. You left.
Not willingly.
Well, you didn't expect her to live in a situation where you had a more than friendly relationship with her best friend.
I lived with that situation for over 2 years with Miss Brown's friend, Pat.
Well, listen, if you chose to be a schlemiel and live that way, that's your issue. She chose not to be a schlemiel.
She did live that way.
You honor?
You're not, hey! No. You just said to me that you lived that way with her having a relationship with somebody else.
Right.
So the supposition after that statement was, well, now she could live with Miriam being under the same roof, and we all live together like I lived with Pat. And I said to you, if you chose to live like a schlemiel while she was cavorting around with Pat for 2 years, so be it. She chose not to be a schlemiel. And I just, for my own curiosity, Mr. Wallen, what would you do with a tractor?
The tractor, I plow snow with it, I mow lawn with it.
On your little 75 by 100, you gonna...
The driveway needs clearing in the wintertime?
Yeah, fine. Well,
proof from the bank account that the money came from my income.
I don't care.
Apparently.
I don't care. You shared a bank account for 9 years. You each put in funds for 9 years. And you purchased things together for 9 years. Now you're not together anymore.
So then she gets to keep everything and I get nothing?
Oh, I don't know about that, sir.
Well, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
No. She said you took a truck. Did you take a truck with you?
And the property in Oak
No. Did you take a truck with you is my question.
Yeah, the truck I paid for.
Just a second. That's what we're talking about. She says...
And the house that I paid for that she's still living in.
Really? Are you really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Well, listen, there are certain things that you can't help. And one of those things, Mr. Wallen, is stupid. I can't help you. This case is dismissed.
I was stupid.
We're done.
Please excuse me, step out.
I was run out of the house.
I actually offered him the home.
She changed the locks. I couldn't get in.
Because I still care about him.
Oh, it's nowhere near done. I have about 7 more suits to file yet.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kovac versus Goolsby. Step forward.
Kyle Kovac is suing his former friend and co-worker, James Goolsby, for damaging his car when he purposely slammed it with a metal pipe.
Mr. Kovac, you were living with Mr. Goolsby and his wife as a tenant?
Correct.
When was that wife as a tenant?
The end of June.
End of June of last year?
This past year.
2016.
Or 2015, I guess. I'm sorry. It was 2015. I'm sorry.
And then there came a time that you and your wife separated and you moved out.
That is correct, yes.
When was that?
That was July 10th of 2015.
So shortly after he moved in?
Yes.
Had you anticipated that when you took on a tenant?
Not at all, no.
And you decided to remain on as a tenant?
Yes.
You have no romantic relationship with Mr. Goldbeat's wife?
Not at all.
And I don't think that there is that suggestion, other than the fact that you clearly exercised poor judgment when, in May of this year, Miss Goolsby wanted to serve her husband with divorce papers. Does your wife work?
She does, yes.
And so she could have hired a process server, but she decided to do it herself. And she enlisted your aid to drive over to his place of business and wait outside while she went inside to serve him with divorce papers. That's what happened.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why your wife was so angry with you, sir. Maybe she had a good reason to be angry with you.
She did.
Well, if what you're telling me is she did, don't have to go into it, I get it, then what she wanted to do was embarrass you. No question about that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He lunged for the wrench, and in the ensuing scuffle, the wrench hit his vehicle.
Okay.
You know, if he hadn't been there, he hadn't showed up at my place of work, none of this would have happened.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If your wife didn't have reason to kick you out, we wouldn't all be here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kyle Kovac is suing his former friend and co-worker, James Goolsby, for damaging his car when he purposely slammed it with a metal pipe.
Now, if she had good cause to ask you to leave, and she wanted to embarrass you that she would take the papers over to your place of business rather than hiring an innocuous process server to serve you at your home, something else. So she tried to embarrass you. Now, in addition to her coming in to serve you with divorce papers, the people in your office, and how many people work in your office?
There was probably about 5 people there.
And everybody in there had the ability to see that in the car there was a guy.
Correct, yes.
Now I have set the story. It is May 3rd of this year. You're waiting outside while the soon-to-be ex-Mrs. Goldsby goes in to serve him with the papers. Got the papers. Instead of taking the papers, you went outside.
I did, yes.
And you approached Mr. Kovac.
Correct, yes.
Now tell me what happened, Mr. Kovac.
She went to meet him on the other side of the building and pretty much through Papa John's windows, as I parked on the other side of the building to avoid being seen. And I see him through the windows running around the north side of the building and turning the corner towards me with the metal object, and I came and swung and ended up hitting the top of my car.
How many times?
1 time.
And that's what you're suing for the damage?
Yes.
May I see the damage, please? And the estimate will be fine.
The damage.
Have an estimate?
Yep.
Yes is the answer.
Yes, sorry.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, now, what part of the car did he hit?
Pretty much where the top of the door meets the roof of the car, almost.
Okay. Mr. Goldsby, you want to give me a different version?
Certainly. I noticed that
At the point where you didn't take the papers, you ran outside. In your hand, you had a wrench because you were busy doing something. So you ran outside and you had a wrench in your hand because that's what you said.
Right.
Okay. Pick it up from there.
Definitely.
Somehow the wrench collided with the plaintiff's car. You want to give me your version of how that happened?
Correct, yes. What happened is when he saw me, he got out.
No, don't tell me when he saw you, because you can't tell me that he saw you.
Right.
So you came running out, and you can tell me he got out of the car.
He got out of the vehicle.
He got out of the vehicle, and? And
I feel that he was intimidated because I had this wrench in my hand. He lunged for the wrench, and in the ensuing scuffle, the wrench hit his vehicle.
Okay, you're responsible for it.
You know, if he hadn't been there, he hadn't showed up at my place of work, none of this would have happened.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If your wife didn't have reason to kick you out, we wouldn't all be here. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $23.83. Aye.
All you got to do is may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm glad it's all taken care of.
I just think there were a lot of emotions involved in it.
I do feel bad, actually.
Just don't get involved in other people's business.
I'd like to rectify the situation with him. All right. All right, man.
You made more than just a little wear and tear.
Her rental went to the dogs.
Tell me what kind of business you were running in the house.
I have a dog walking business.
Did this landlord's home become a kennel?
Would you take them to your house?
Several times, but they never stayed over the night.
I also have advertisements from her Facebook page for boarding in the home.
That's different from a dog walker, Miss Dupnick.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Adam Anderson is suing his former tenant, Elizabeth Dupnick, for damages to his home as the result of her pet boarding business.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Anderson versus Dupnick. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Anderson, the defendant was a tenant of yours in a home that you own.
Correct.
When did you purchase this rental home?
April, I believe, 11th or 12th, 2014. And she moved in May 1st, 2014.
What was the rent that Ms. Dupnick was paying for the house?
$1,650.
How large is the house?
1,200 square feet.
And was she living there alone or with someone else?
And a Labrador Retriever, her dog.
This is what you're asking for. It is your claim that the defendant signed the lease. I assume she has a lease that you're going to show me.
Yes, ma'am.
And the lease permitted her to live there. She paid her rent, herself, her child, and her dog.
Correct.
And she moved out.
Yes.
And she moved out after a year?
2 years and 2 months.
And according to you, she left the property in disastrous condition because, according to you, you have evidence that she was running a business in the house, and that business involved taking care of animals in the house. And there was damage that reaches almost $3,000 you want her to pay for. Did she give you security deposit?
She did.
How much?
$1,595 for the property and an additional $300 pet deposit.
Did you return any of that money to her?
I did not.
So you have $1,895 that you had to use for repairs?
Correct.
And since I do not have a counterclaim, Ms. Dupnick, I assume you recognize that there was damage caused in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me, Mr. Anderson, were you aware that Ms. Dupnick was running a business in the house?
Not until I began doing some research after she had moved out based on the damages. So at the time she was living there, no.
Did you know any of the neighbors?
I did not.
Did you ever receive any complaints from any of the neighbors with regard to dogs?
I did not.
Walking business, and so most of the business I do doesn't come out of the house. I go to people's property to walk their dogs and do pet sitting.
Okay, but is there a time when you do bring the animals home to your house?
There was a time that I did have foster dogs there, so I wasn't...
How many?
There's probably 4 over the time that I lived there.
At the same time?
No, not at the same time.
When?
It was spread out in between 2.5 years, so...
So you took in foster dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
You never took any of the dogs that you walked?
They never were there for any longer than like a day. I didn't board them at the house.
I didn't ask whether you boarded them, but sometimes would you take them to your house?
I did several times, but they never stayed over the night.
I didn't ask you whether they stayed over the night, but they were there.
Yes, ma'am.
And was part of your service ever that you were a dog sitter for the day so that people could either drop their dogs off at the house and they would stay with you for the day and then their owner would pick them up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's different from a dog walker, Ms. Dupnick. That's a kindergarten for dogs. How many of those clients did you have?
Only a very small amount. There was just 2.
So you had 3 dogs in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Now I'm going to take a look at your lease.
Okay.
So I'd like to see and how it limits the pet.
And if I could point you to page 3, there's a line in the lease that says there are additional pets or dollars for each additional day.
Who's Dupnick?
It's my father.
So he guaranteed the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the photographs of the property.
Would you like before and after? Or just...
Yes, I would like before and after.
These are the after. That stack is the before photos. And, Your Honor, I also have advertisements from her Facebook page with photos of the dogs in the backyard, as well as an advertisement for boarding in the home that I'd like to send
take a look at it.
So it is it's going to be that page.
That's really a lovely, clean house.
Thank you.
Did you paint the walls?
We did. Before she moved in, we repainted all the...
These are the before photographs. He didn't own the house much before you rented it, so I assume that you agree that this is what the house looked like before. Would you tell me what these pictures are?
That's the garage with quite a bit of debris and trash left in. So part of my claim is...
Just cleanup.
I
just didn't understand what it was. Okay, and a broken door.
Broken door, yes, ma'am.
The cabinet came off the hinge. It was from wear and tear over 2.5 years of being there. If I had someone to help me put a hinge back, I would have done it. I just don't know how to do that myself.
You should ask your father.
He doesn't live in Austin.
What's this?
Just painted. So I had to pay to have the walls repainted in the house again.
This is another picture just of the garage?
No, that's the carpet in the bedroom. One of those bedrooms was her daughter's bedroom.
Didn't you own a vacuum cleaner?
That carpet was very bad quality, and it would snag up every single time I vacuumed.
So you didn't vacuum?
I did, but it made it very difficult. And I paid for a cleaner to come and clean the house. So I have this receipt from the maids that were supposed to come over and do a deep clean, and
Well, I don't know when they came over, but this wasn't a deep cleaning.
Well, that's why I was kind of confused, because I did pay, and I do have, like, the receipt for that.
Did you go over to the house after you paid for the deep cleaning?
I did not, because my lease was already up at that time. And I do have
this
evidence.
is just trash pickup, sir?
Yeah, broken screens from the windows and trash pickup.
There's only one screen here.
Yeah, it's mostly trash removal that I had to pay for.
Okay, so let me see the trash removal. So far, you have almost $1,900 of her money. So trash removal, getting somebody there for $250 to clean up would be a lot. They could do it in one day. I'm not seeing the rest, sir.
I'd like to provide a list or invoice from the handyman service that did all the repairs to the home. So there was quite a bit more damage than just carpet and paint and trash removal.
Well, your main items here are painting and carpeting. Replace all carpeting and install new pads. Those are the 2 big items. And 3 to haul off the stuff. $233.
Ma'am, if I...
$31.58.
Correct.
And you have $1,895. Is $1,263.
That's correct. The additional fees come from the prorated rent when she was not out of the home.
I have
on the first.
I have receipts from the new home that I moved into, and I paid a prorated rent to move in early there. And I have the email where I paid early to move out of that house.
When did you re-rent the premises?
I have an application for rent currently. It took lost rent from over a month of having to do these repairs. And additional fees are for smoking violations, lost garage door openers, which are all part of the petition as well that was initially filed.
Did you return the garage openers?
I had one and I did not return it.
Why?
It got lost.
Okay, so you were hoping for the garage door opener. How much is that in the lease?
I believe it's $150.
You can take the lease back and find the paragraph.
I also have, can I call my witness, please?
I'm just asking you certain questions. You didn't return the garage doors opener because it got lost.
Yes.
And you're required to return it.
The carpet hadn't been changed since 2006 when he bought the house, and we got in touch with the selling agent because he is a real estate agent, and so they told us the last time it was changed was 2006.
That's okay, but it didn't look like that when you moved in there.
No, ma'am.
It didn't look like that. Around and pet stains, that's what it looked like because the house was in pristine condition when you moved in. Even though the carpeting may not have been changed, ordinarily I wouldn't give him any money to change carpeting if it hadn't been changed in 10 years. But you made a mess of it, and it's more than just a little wear and tear. You know, you ran a business there. You ran a business. A messy business. Nice business lets you stay home with your daughter, but still a business. So far you owe him $1,313. What else, Mr. Anderson?
The other things that I'm looking for,
Don't look for anything that's going to annoy me. So far you're batting 1,000.
I'm batting 1,000. Well, thank you, ma'am.
So far you're batting 1,000.
Well, again, it was prorated rent. It was the damages that are on the inventory release form.
Forget.
There's also a supplemental invoice behind that, and some of the things that I'm not even looking for are just lost rent, the travel time.
It's not happening.
No,
it's not happening. In another country, not this country. Okay. Now, 1313. Anything else you want to say to me, Ms. Dubnik?
I don't know if I have the lease inventory sheet from when I moved in. I'm not sure if that's anything you want to look at. But there were holes in the walls when I moved in. Not big holes or anything, but there was already some stuff that wasn't completed whenever I moved into the house.
I saw the pictures
I know.
of the house.
Okay.
You acknowledge that that's what the house looked like. He didn't have it that long before he rented it to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Who were you?
My name is James Barrett. I was the real estate agent who was my client to fill...
No, just a second. I didn't ask you a question yet. Who brokered the deal when she first moved into the house? Just answer my question.
Yes.
And so you had seen the house when she came. And did you know her before?
I did.
For how long?
For, how old are you?
26.
26 years.
I'm not interested. Sit. Unless you have other pictures to show me. Unless you have other pictures, listen to me carefully. Unless you have other pictures to show me which suggest that the house was not in the condition that Mr. Anderson says it was when your friend moved in, and not in the condition of the pictures that he showed me when she moved out, I'm not interested in anything.
I do not have photos of the slab.
Great. We're done. 1313.
Excuse me, miss, I do have the list of the additional.
13. We're done.
Thank you.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
For one dog, a woman and her child, to cause that much damage.
I did have a couple dogs over for daycare.
It was a lot. So when I found out she was running a doggy daycare business out of there and a boarding business,
But not to an extreme extent.
It kind of all came together for me.
Just to follow the rules and... Yeah.
But obviously, you can't trust anybody to take care of a home the way that you would.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Olarte versus West
is suing her brother, Larry Westerfield II, for a loan to have his teeth fixed.
Miss Olarte, this is your brother.
Yes.
And it is your claim that you made a loan to him?
Yes.
For some dental work. And your brother says that while he acknowledges that you paid this dental bill for him or opened up a line of credit for him, it was a gift. That was never an intention of him repaying you. And I gather from reading the papers that your mouth was in pretty bad shape.
Yes, I probably only had 8 teeth left on top. They were black and flat to the gums, and every one of them were abscessed. What's that?
You had pain.
Oh, that would be an understatement.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth
and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please do this for me. And he just kept begging me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lorena Olarte says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, how old are you, Mr. Westerfield?
43.
How do you support yourself?
I'm an electrician now, and I wasn't working at the time, though.
And who do you live with?
Our mother. I probably moved back about a year and a half ago. She started getting bad with pacemakers and heart attacks and stuff. I caregive for her. But I've lived other places. I just recently moved back with her.
And how old are you, Mr. Olarte?
42.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm a student, and I just lost my job in August. I get alimony and child support, and I'm looking for a job in the same line of work.
What kind of work had you been doing?
I worked with people with developmental disabilities out in the community, acclimating them to the community and helping them.
When did you make this loan to your brother for the dental work?
It was on April 6th was the dentist appointment.
Of?
2016, I'm sorry.
And at that time, your sister was or was not working?
I'm not positive, to be honest with you. We don't communicate a lot.
Well, someone communicated with her with regard to your teeth.
Oh, yeah, yes. My mother keeps in contact with everybody all the time. She's on the phone constantly.
So, was it your mother who told you about
No.
his teeth?
He came to see me in February.
So far, correct?
Yes.
There's a cheap airline that flies, and I found a really good deal. So I paid for him to come up to visit. And when I saw his mouth is when he told me about it, and he said he couldn't work because of the pain. So if he could get his mouth fixed, he would be able to go right back to work. So I flew down in April and took him to the dentist, and the dentist just said this is what needed to be done. He needed all his teeth pulled.
But at that point, he had no money.
He had no job at that point, no.
So he had no job, no money, certainly no insurance that would cover the dental
No.
work. Did you have the cash to pay for the...
No, I had to get a Care Credit One card to pay for it.
Were you working at the time?
Yes, at the time I was working.
Well, when you went to the dentist with him, tell me the conversation that you had with your brother in the dentist's office.
Well, what happened is the dentist looked at him, and then someone came in and said, this is how much it's going to be to pull all the teeth and then give him dentures. And I looked at him and said, that's too much. I thought the dentist would let him make payments directly to the dentist. He said, we don't work like that. And I said, okay. And he looked at me, my brother did, and said, please, please, please do this for me. And I said, Larry, I can't make these payments. I still don't make a lot of money, even at the job I have. I said, I can't do it. And he's like, well, if they get fixed, I can go right back to work as soon as I'm healed. And he just kept begging me. And I said, finally, okay, Larry, but you have to promise me you make the payments. I'll make the first one for you, because I know I said, you'll get the job, I'll make the first one, you heal, and then you start making them. And he said, I swear, Lori, I swear, I swear. And
so what happened, Mr. Westerfield?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
All you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for our mother.
Well, unfortunately, that's very nice of you. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children. Neither one of those things have you done.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lorena Olarte says her brother, Larry Westerfield II, owes for a loan for dental work.
Now, you got your teeth. Mm-hmm. Did you go back to work?
Yeah, but it was about 2 months later, because for the first month I was in pain.
Okay, so you went back to work 2 months later. So did you start to make the payments in June?
I have given her money, but...
No. Did you start to make the payments in June?
As soon as I got money, I gave her money.
You gave her? Okay, how much did you give her and when?
I don't even know. Very small amounts. I don't make a lot of money.
How much do you make? You live with your mother.
Well, yeah, but the company I work for isn't doing a lot of work right now, so I'm talking like there were some weeks it was like a 5-hour paycheck. So I think I sent $50 the first time or something.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mr. Westerfield. You have children from your marriage?
Yes.
How many?
2 of them.
How old are they?
19 and 23.
Are there any outstanding orders for child support?
I owe arrears from 2008.
And so you haven't paid child support since 2008?
Oh, no. I paid. I just owed. There was like an 8-month period I didn't work because the economy collapsed. So I owed that 8 months.
So how much do you owe?
$10,000. I get a paycheck.
What was your paycheck last week?
I think it was $420.
How much did you give your sister?
None.
Why?
We got hit by a hurricane, and we needed money for food and water and stuff. I don't even know if we have power right now, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, all the money in the world isn't going to get your power.
Well, true. They were taking cash at the store, though. They couldn't pump gas or anything, though, obviously. There's no electricity. There's trees down, power lines down. We were literally ground zero.
What was your paycheck the week before?
I think it was 212 or something like that.
How much did you give to your sister? Nothing. Okay. What's the balance left?
The balance now is, because I've been making every payment every month.
Just tell me what's left.
What's left? $33.86 is the last one I have.
May I see it, please?
All of them, or just
the last one?
The last one I have. I'm sorry, I must have left them. This is the last bill I have with me. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the last bill.
When was the last time you gave your sister money?
It had to be about 3-4 weeks, maybe even longer.
Just say 4 weeks. How
Yes,
much
let's
did you
just
give
say
her?
that. I think it was $80.
You remember that?
No, the payment I have is on July 15th, $140. I have a copy of the money order.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captions.
Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Mr. Westerfield, you and your sister are about the same age.
Yeah.
She has children. You have grown children for whom you have at least told me that you bear no
Yes.
financial responsibility. So all you have to do is take care of yourself.
I'm also a caregiver for our mother, too.
Well,
So-
unfortunately, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you, but not something that you're required to do. You're required to take care of yourself, and you're required to take care of your children.
Yes.
Neither one of those things have you done. Because if you're $10,000 in arrears in child support and your sister paid for your teeth, you're not doing minimally what you're supposed to do, which is to take care of yourself and the children you bring into the world. And if you're 43 and your sister's 42, your mother's not ancient. You owe your sister $35.47. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I'm very thankful, exactly. But see, that's just it. I thought it was a gift.
He owed the money. It wasn't a gift. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, considering I take care of the mom, because if I don't take care of her, who's going to?
I'm a single mother. I lost my job, and I can't keep paying it.
We don't talk at all anymore. She yells at my mother. None of us talk none of us talk anymore, pretty much.
I do love my brother, and if it's an emergency and it's health related, you have to do it.
And I hope she starts talking to her mother, because her mother misses her.
You just hope they appreciate it and pay you back.
Yeah, I love her.
I love you. Me too. Still owed me the money.
A struggling mom fights for her kids.
I lost my second job because I had no child care because he left. I found out he booked a trip to Florida.
Then her ex's long-distance disruption.
Kenny is laying around the pool in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police.
I was freaking out.
His whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lori Cole is suing her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, for a false restraining order and lost wages.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 344 on the calendar in the matter of Cole versus Cole.
Thank you very much, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. What you folks have?
Oh, man. Miss Cole, this is your soon-to-be former mother-in-law. And it is your claim that she filed for a protective order against you, requiring you to hire an attorney, and you want her to be responsible for those attorney's fees, plus, because you say she had no basis to file for a protective order.
Correct.
She said she did. So let's get some background so that I understand. How long have you been married to the defendant's son?
18 years.
And you have children?
Yes.
How many?
3.
How old?
15, 13, and 11.
You've been separated since when?
He left on June 24th.
Of this year?
Yes.
To go where?
To pursue his relationship with his girlfriend.
So he has a girlfriend?
Yes.
Is there currently a support order?
Yes.
And what is the support order for the 3 children?
It's $1,407.
A month?
For child support, yes.
And when was that order put into place?
On October 28th, 2017.
2016.
16, I'm sorry. But prior to that, we had an agreement with our prospective lawyers that he would pay me for child support of $1,407 until we could agree upon the stipulation.
And the stipulation reflected the amount. How long prior to October 28th, when that stipulation was actually put into place, had he been paying you the $1,400 a month?
Sporadically. Sometimes
well,
he'd
let's
pay
talk
it,
about it. We're not talking about that many months. He left the end of June. Did he give you any money in July?
Yes, not all of it.
How much?
$800.
And what about August?
My mother-in-law wrote a check for $1,400.
How did that come about, that she wrote you the check?
I'm not exactly sure.
Well, did you call her?
No, I did not. He handed me the check. My husband handed me the check.
Handed you a check written by your mother-in-law?
Yes. You want to see it?
No, I don't have to see it. But you had no conversation with her?
No.
No,
but
that was in
I've
August.
had conversation with her.
No. But you didn't have any conversation about money in August?
No, I did not.
And it was out of her bank account?
Yes.
So far correct? In August?
I don't recall it.
Okay, well, if you don't recall, then I take her word for it that in August it was your
You
check.
wrote a check down?
Sure.
I wrote it.
If you don't recall, then I have to rely on the plaintiff from her memory that the August check was written by you. You'll never know, Miss Cole Sr., where I'm going. So I would suggest you not try to figure out where I'm going. You just tell me the truth. Do we understand each other? Perfect. Now, let's go back. So now we're in September.
So what happened was on August 30th, I was alerted by the bank that my husband withdrew $1,472, funds that were not supposed to be touched. Our lawyers said, do not touch that money.
Was that in a joint account?
Yes.
Stand up. Did you withdraw $1,472 from a joint account in August? For what?
Because she was transferring money, utilizing that money for other things. And before it all disappeared, I said, I'm withdrawing half of what was mine, half of the money that was in there.
Just a second. You had an agreement with your respective lawyers not to touch a pool of money. I think we're not going back here years of separation. So at the end of June, how much was in that account, Mr. Cole?
The end of June?
Yeah, when you left.
Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything.
Zero. Okay. And who put money in there in July?
It was a tax refund. Tax refund.
So a tax refund came in.
Correct.
In what month?
August, I believe. Yeah, August. We were in court.
So in August, tax refund went directly into the account.
Yes.
In what amount?
Just under $6,000.
So $6,000 went into the bank in August. Do you remember what date in August?
No.
Do you remember what date in August, Mrs. Cole?
I think it was between August 8th and August 10th of 2016.
And on what date did you draw out $1,400? Think very, very carefully, Mr. Cole. During that 2-week period, because you said you drew out this $1,472 because your wife was custody of your 3 children, was using that money for other things. I would like you to itemize the other things she was using the money for so that you felt entitled to take out $1,472.
I don't know exactly what it was for.
Well, I mean, was she using it for... Just a second. Did you see money coming out for a spray tan or for breast augmentation?
No.
Then I'd like you to tell me what other things there were that you triggered in your mind an entitlement to remove funds from an account that a judge had said to you, don't touch.
It was the attorneys that said don't touch.
Fine, attorneys.
Okay.
Yours and hers.
And she was taking money out of the account, and
Just
before it
Just
disappeared.
a second. Well, so then you've changed your statement. Your first statement is she was taking out money out of the account for things that she shouldn't take money out of the account for. Okay? So now you're not saying that she shouldn't have taken money out of the account for frivolous things. It could have been for other things, but you don't know what they were. So I'd like you to tell me how much money she took out of the account.
Dollars?
No. You went against an agreement with your attorney, and you took out an odd number, $1,472. Now, she looks like she's got everything written down very, very carefully. You are standing there with your mother with nothing in front of you. Is it correct that in the month of July, you didn't send $1,400 for the support of your children, you sent $800 for the support of your children?
No.
How much did you send for the support of your children in the month of July?
I don't have that paperwork in front of me.
Well, where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
We were coming to...
Just a second. Where did you think you were coming? You were coming to the beach? No, this is all leading up to what happened on the date that your former wife, and I'm not usually, if you ever watch this program, you understand, I'm an ecumenical abuser. If I think that she did the wrong thing by going to your mother's house because something was wrong with a check, I'll let her have it. But right now, I'm not getting a good vibe from your side. Because first, you tell me that you touched money that you weren't supposed to touch because she was using it for things she shouldn't have. That triggers in my mind, if I didn't ask the next question, you know, going to get gels on her nails instead of supporting your 3 children who are 15, 13, and 11, okay? And you can't support 3 goldfish on $1,400. I don't want you to think that they're living high at the Ritz on your $1,400 a month. Okay, which you didn't pay in July. So now we go to she's using things that she shouldn't have. She took out some money. How much? I don't remember. A couple of $100. Well, a couple of $100 isn't $1,472. Where did you get the figure from, $1,472 that you took out of the account that was supposed to be untouched?
That was half of the balance of the tax return that was left in the account.
Okay. Is it correct that in August, half of the refund had already been utilized by you?
So when we went to sit down to discuss the stipulation, we took the tax refund and we used it for marital debt.
What marital debt?
Since he had left, the utility bills that weren't paid, the rent that was due.
And was that
school
discussed in
supplies.
the stipulation that part of the tax refund check would be used for that?
Yes.
Very easy phone call to the lawyers. Do you recall that at the stipulation settlement meeting, that part of the refund check would be used for marital debt?
Absolutely.
So she used part of that money to pay water, rent, fare. In that little pot was $2,900, which both of you were told not to touch, but you did.
After she did.
No, she didn't. What she's saying is she used that money, unless you can tell me that she got gels on her nails twice a week. I asked you a question, and the question was, what did she spend the money on that was not marital debt that had already been discussed with both of your lawyers? Rent, utilities. We're not talking about a lot of money here, sir.
No.
Okay, I got you. I got who we are and where we're going. Now you can sit. Now you leave your mother all by herself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it with his girlfriend. You don't call the police, he does, from Florida. So the police arrive. The police said, well, if she was that annoying, you could file for a protective order, right?
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Cole says her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, filed a false restraining order against her.
Now we're moving to September. Go ahead.
Okay, so on August 30th, 2016, he transferred out the $14,700 was due. So I was freaking out because I had to pay the rent.
Got it.
I have a 10-month position job as a teaching assistant. I lost my second job because I had no child care because he left. I was a waitress. I worked on weekends. I worked 7 days a week.
Got it.
So called my mother to tell her what happened because I found out he booked a trip to Florida.
Got it.
So he left to go to Florida.
Did he discuss that with you? I'm asking you a question. Did your son discuss with you going to Florida in August?
I did not know at the time that he was going to Florida. I found out a few days later.
A few days after he left?
Yes.
Did he call you?
I called him.
Under what circumstances did you call him?
He left me with a check on August 31st for Lori.
So he left you a check, but that check was dated what?
September 31st.
Okay. Well, we all know from second grade, 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28, and sometimes 29. We all know that, right?
Of course.
I mean, he's not an idiot.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
Fine. So he left you a check that the date on it was wrong.
Yes.
When did he give you the check?
The day before, on the 31st.
Personally?
He came and wrote it out at my kitchen table.
And at that time, he didn't tell you he was going to Florida?
No, he was in a hurry and he wrote out the check.
Do you think he was embarrassed that he was going to Florida?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you know, I don't believe a word you just said to me. Mrs. Cole, do you want to know why I don't believe a word that you just said to me? I'm going to tell you. Because the previous month, according to the information that I have, because you don't remember, your son handed her physically a check that you had written out for her. So that was the custom. He handed her the check, because they haven't been separated that long. So if he's coming to your house and sitting at the kitchen table and writing out a check and putting it in an envelope and saying to you, give this to Lori, my reaction, because I have children, what's his first name?
Kenneth.
I would say, Kenny, why don't you give her the check yourself when you see the kids? And he would say, Mom, I'm going to Florida with my girlfriend. That's the way the conversation goes. Not, here, give this to Lori. I'll see you, Ma. Goodbye. So I don't believe that you called him a few days later.
I called him.
You called him why?
I called him on September 1st when Lori came to my house for the check.
Right. She came to the house to pick up her check.
Yes.
Because you called her.
Well, her mother called me first.
Because your Kenny took out money from the account that he wasn't supposed to touch and took his girlfriend to Florida. So you said, I have Lori's check, let her come and pick it up. Is that what you said?
I said I will call her to pick it up, yes.
I will call. So you called her?
She called me and before I had time to call
Just
her.
a second. Whatever it is, she called you, which is what I said.
Right.
Don't tell me time. She called you and said, I understand from my mother you have the check from Kenny. That's what happened. I've been doing family court work for 40 years. You think that this is new? This is not new. I've told this story 5,000 times.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Cole has accused her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, of filing a false restraining order against her.
So she came over. You gave it to her in a sealed envelope?
Yes.
And she opened the envelope in front of you?
No, she did not.
She left?
Right. It was in my mailbox for her.
Oh, so you...
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be bothered because it would be complaints over money and complaints over my son, and it is not my job to pay his bills. You're going to say, yes, I did in August, but the fight is between him and her and not me.
You're absolutely right. Just make sure that you don't have blinders on. You may have a 45-year-old son, and you may love him. If he does the wrong thing, you have to say to him, Kenny, you're 45. I told you when you did the wrong thing when you were 3 and 6 and 10, and you're doing the wrong thing now. You made these children. She made these children. It's not like she's a bum laying in bed and eating bonbons and saying, you know, you have to take care of me. She works.
Right.
You work, and your primary responsibility right now is during this transition period with your children, since you're not here anymore, to make sure that they feel secure. And the custodial parent, which happens to be their mother, because Kenny doesn't want the children. Kenny doesn't want the children full-time. He's very happy with a part-time, well, let me ask you this question. I won't even ask you. Don't go like this. Did the stipulation provide that you share custody 50-50?
No, I'm a custodial parent. He gets them every other weekend and one day a week.
That's what men usually want when they're 45. Because she may say, I want to be their new mother.
She won't allow the children to be.
She may say, I love them and I want to be their mother. Not so. Not so. I'd rather go to Florida. So you have to take blinders off and just look at it from a dispassionate position. All right, so now she comes over, and the check is made out for September 31st. She comes back, and she says, do something with the check. And she's angry.
Right.
What did she say to you?
She did not. She wanted me to issue her my own personal check.
No.
Just a second. Yes. Just a second. Let's say she wanted you to issue her your own personal check, and you can say to the Zindi when he comes home from Florida, you're going to reimburse me $1,407 because that's what I gave Lori for the children because you wrote the check out wrong. What's wrong with that?
I had Kenneth on the phone, and he said, Mom, you can change the date on the check because there was a 9, and it could have so easily been made into an 8 for the date, and Lori would not permit me to do it.
Well, you know, he's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right. Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy continues. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, instead of saying I'm in Florida, I don't want there to be any trouble. I wrote the check out wrong. I'll reimburse you as soon as I get back from my vacation. Write Lori a check out for the kids. I don't want her to be aggravated. So that's not what happened. And there was a whole kerfuffle. And she got aggravated and she got hot. And you didn't do anything when she got hot. She left. It was an unpleasant moment. Kenny is laying around the pool at the Fontainebleau in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, my
No,
God.
just a second. Just say a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did you call the police or
Yes.
did Kenny in Florida call the police?
Yes.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it. You're there dealing with his problem. You don't call the police. He does, from Florida. So the police arrive. And you tell them what happened. She came here, she was annoying, she yelled at me and whatever. And according to your answer, the police said, well, if she was that annoying, you can file for a protective order, right?
Right.
So you said, she was nasty. My son is in Florida. Police said I could file for a protective order. You go and you file for a protective order. Not because you called the police and felt threatened, but because Kenny drinking his margarita. So she hires a lawyer and you go to court. But she had to pay for the lawyer separately from the matter. That's why we're here.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Right.
How much did you pay the lawyer?
$1,783.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,783. We're done.
Wait.
We are done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm very happy, and justice has been served.
Well, I'm very sorry she's getting anything for it, and I hope
Let's move forward.
And hopefully he'll do the right thing from now on.
Let's just move forward, put all of this behind us, and do the right thing for our kids.
A dad left in the dark.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota?
No. After troubling news comes to light.
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So.
Which child?
My oldest.
Now, are their kids at risk again?
So now he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
Annie Linda Kugel and her son, 23-year-old Austin Koppelman, are suing Annie's sister, Kiara Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, for travel expenses and child care costs.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 343 on the calendar in the matter of Linda Kugel Koppelman versus Chakua Davis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
What is your last name?
Linda Kugel.
This is your sister.
It is.
And this gentleman is the father of your sister's children. How many children do you have?
3, sir.
Are the two of you married?
No.
This is your son.
He is.
And I assume he's here because he contributed money to this airfare.
Correct.
So I read your brief complaint and answer, and I'm trying to put the story together. Let me see, based upon some years in the family court, what I gather happened. You lived in the state of Texas.
Correct, I do.
And you live in the state of?
North Dakota.
And your 3 children were living with you in Texas.
Correct.
You started to have some difficulty, probably with a substance abuse problem.
I was diagnosed with epilepsy.
That's not what I asked you. State unless there is some sort of potential neglect of children. Was the family court involved with your children?
Due to an unlicensed daycare, yes.
The state became involved with your children?
Yes.
And they were threatening to remove the children from your custody?
Correct.
In Texas? Okay, that's the long and short of it.
Yep.
You called your sister.
Correct.
And I'm putting this together because while the particular what you're suing for is different, the story isn't different. You called your sister and you said to your sister, unless you take custody of the children, the state's going to put them in foster care.
Yeah.
Is that what she said to you?
Yes.
So your sister paid for the children to come down to live with her.
Correct.
You put the children, how old are they?
11, 9, and 7.
Put the 3 children on a plane.
Correct.
She had gotten the tickets and you took custody of the children. When was that?
August 27th.
And when the children came to you, your sister had given you certain documentation so that you could enroll them in school.
She did.
Take care of their medical care, that she was giving you the authority to do that. Do you have that document with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. This is a temporary guardianship agreement that you prepared and signed and notarized.
I did.
At some point,
it was exactly 1 week after I had gotten the children to my house.
And how, sir, did you find out in North Dakota?
Yes.
You're starting to laugh. Don't start to smile.
I'm sorry.
Don't start to smile. It's not funny.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Great. How did you find out that the children were now living in Minnesota with their aunt?
She called me when I was in church and told me that her sister had the kids and that the sister had refused to have her talk to the kids. So...
Just a minute. So she called you?
Yes.
And what did she want you to do?
She called me with a problem and she wanted me to solve it. That's typical of what she does.
So what did you do?
I was talking to my pastor and he said, oh, simple, just call the sheriff when you get there. So I called the sheriff.
We're missing a step. It's like we went from chapter 1 to chapter 3. She called you with a problem.
Yes.
You started to tell me her problem was that her sister wasn't letting her speak to the children.
Yes.
So what do you need a sheriff for?
Because the sister would not give up the kids to me.
Just a second. What does her problem with speaking to the children have to do with you getting the children?
Because when I called the sister to ask her if she had the kids, she wanted to see me. So my pastor was
Just a second. So you called the children because she...
I called her. I didn't call the kids.
Listen to me. She called you.
Yes.
Was that the first time that you knew that the children were in Minnesota?
Yes.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota?
No, I knew the kids were in Texas.
So that would suggest to me if a week went by, you weren't in regular contact with the children.
No, she wouldn't let me.
Don't tell me wouldn't let.
Okay.
What I'm asking you is it suggests to me that if you have 3 children and a week went by, you hadn't spoken to them in at least a week because you had no idea that they were removed from Texas and they were now in Minnesota, right?
No, I did not.
Okay. When was the last time prior to August of this year that you saw the children?
I saw them in August.
Where?
In Minnesota. No, in North Dakota, because where I live in Fargo, the border is just...
I'm not talking about Minnesota when the children were with the plaintiff. I'm talking about when the children were with their mother in Texas. When was the last time you saw them?
I did not go to Texas.
So when was the last time, month and year, that you saw the children?
I saw them in August, because that's when she moved to Texas.
Were you living together with her?
No, I wasn't. But
how long has it been since you've lived with the children?
I haven't lived with the kids because we have joint custody, so the kids keep moving back and forth. I moved her from Indiana to North Dakota so I could see my kids regularly.
When? Month and year? What?
I moved
February.
her.
What?
In February.
In February?
Of 2015, I moved to North Dakota.
So when the kids were in North Dakota, you saw them?
Yes.
She left North Dakota?
April.
Fine. Now we have a date. You moved her there in February. She left North Dakota in April.
The following year.
April the following year?
Yes.
And went to Texas?
Correct.
Okay. Now, between April and August, April, May, June, July, and August, 5 months, did you see the children?
Yes.
Where?
They used to come to my apartment.
How did they get there from Texas?
No, in my...
From February until April, the kids went to your house every other weekend. After April, they came to Texas with me. They stayed with Texas with me and my mother.
Did he see the children?
No.
No, I did not.
For those 5 months?
No.
Why did you leave North Dakota?
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So.
Which child?
My oldest.
Altercation.
Corporal punishment.
And did the family court become involved in that?
Yes.
And you left and took the children?
Correct.
Now, at some point, you took the sheriff and went to the plaintiff's house and got the children?
Yes.
That was in August?
Yes.
That was within the same month that plaintiff paid for the children to come?
Yes.
And you were instructed to give the father the children. Now, did you have a document from the children's mother granting you any temporary custodial rights?
Oh, I had my divorce decree.
Which divorce decree? Had you been married?
Yes, we were.
So you were married. So you were married and divorced. So you had a divorce decree granting you joint custody.
Yes.
Did you tell the sheriff that there was a family court proceeding? No. Was there a protective order issued by the family court in North Dakota?
Wasn't dismissed.
There was
Yes.
a protective order.
Correct.
Not permitting him to be alone with the children.
Yes, and then it was dismissed.
Was it dismissed after you moved to Texas? Well, there's no reason for it. I'm all over it. There's no reason for it, so somebody went in and said, because I am taking the children and moving to another state, so we don't need a protective order anymore. People are so smart. If they only used all of that cunning to do something productive, everybody would be better off. So now he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with in their home state. And what you do is you call Child Protective Services in North Dakota. I got it. Now I understand, because you were probably made aware by the 11-year-old of the proceedings in North Dakota, but she clearly must have had a law guardian representing her who thought that this whole thing was over because the mother had removed the children from a potentially dangerous situation that was not resolved by way of a trial, in all probability, but by you saying, I'm going to move away so we can take this all away. I got it. Fine. Let me explain something to you. This is why we're here today. We're here because you paid for the children to come. How much were their tickets to come to you?
$700.
For all of them?
Yes.
And how long did they remain with you?
1 week.
So actually, your out-of-pocket expense was $700.
And then I'd gone to the grocery store and...
That's all right. To do groceries for a week. Where do you live now, by the way? Where? Don't think.
Huh?
Where did you come from when you came to court?
Texas.
From Texas?
Correct.
Is that where you are living now?
Yes, it is.
And you are still in?
Fargo, North Dakota.
And where do the children live?
Fargo, North Dakota.
In foster care?
No, I have my 2 boys. I went to court last week, so I have.
So you have the 2 boys?
But I don't have my girl.
The girl is in foster care?
Correct.
Yes.
Since the 2 of you clearly had been in touch with each other, the 2 of you, in all probability, had something going on, but you needed the children to be removed from the jurisdiction.
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I mentioned the fund once she told me her son was murdered.
And they decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract. You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Annie Linda Kugel and her son, Austin Koppelman, claim Annie's sister, Kiara Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, owe for travel expenses.
Move the children from your custody for what? I don't know. They weren't going to let him have the children because he had this outstanding excessive corporal punishment case, which is either an abuse or a neglect case. So you got the children out, had the protective order dismissed. He shows up with a divorce decree. He gets custody. She's very smart. She says, I'm calling Child Protective Services. Meanwhile, she's out $700. And as far as I'm concerned, the $700 are necessities for your children, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. We're finished. Thank you.
What is your excuse? You may step out.
Your kids aren't a pawn. Your kids are lives.
I don't believe that they're used as a pawn. I love my children very dearly.
They're real people, and they need
they need to be treated like that. I will do anything and everything I can for them. Well, I hope the kids are happy and well taken care of. It's hard on our family, and this just makes it even harder.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Roberts versus Torres. Step forward.
Funeral home owner Monty Roberts is suing Cheryl Torres for unpaid funeral costs for her son.
Miss Torres, I'm going to start with you, because I think I understand a little bit of what happened here. Your son was killed in what month and year?
February of last year.
And you went to
I'm sorry, in October.
Remember the date? And you went to Mr. Roberts' funeral home to make arrangements for your son's funeral.
Yes.
Had you ever been to Mr. Roberts' funeral home before?
No.
How were you referred there?
By my daughter's father.
Who had used their services before?
No, he just lives in that area, so he saw that one. So he told us about it.
And you went there. Who did you go there with?
My oldest daughter.
And you know that the plaintiff's services are not free.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
So you were, when you went there, prepared to pay for your son's funeral.
Yes.
Did you have a budget for the funeral?
No, they had said that it was going to be under the victim's crime.
No. I'm not talking about what he said to you once you got there.
Okay.
I'm talking about, Miss Torres, when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility, you knew that it was a for-profit facility. This wasn't free. You weren't saying, listen, we're not going to have a funeral for him because I can't afford it. When you went there, you knew that you had to pay something.
Yes.
So what I asked you was, and I assume you knew what budget you had in your head that you were prepared to spend for your son's funeral when you went there.
Yes.
What was that budget?
Well, being that I've never done that, so I knew it's going to be a couple of thousand.
Right. So you figured it would at least be $2,000. Did you figure it might be expensive?
Yes.
And you were prepared to pay that?
Yes.
And then when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility, you met with Mr. Roberts?
No, at first, no. What's that?
She met with you. Stand up. You work for Mr. Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not related to him?
I'm not.
So you met with Miss Torres yourself?
I did.
Now, she explained the circumstances of her son's death?
It's really not in my position to ask. No.
Did she discuss with you the circumstances of her son's death?
She did.
Then you can sit down. And when, Mr. Roberts, she discussed the circumstances of her son's death, were you the one who said that there is a fund for crime victims, because that's how she presented her son to you as a crime victim? There is a fund for crime victims' funeral expenses.
Yes, ma'am. In Tarrant County, there is.
So you explained that to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She didn't want to have a free funeral.
Yes, that's correct.
You wanted what you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but Miss Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Funeral home owner Monty Roberts says Cheryl Torres owes for...
What was the conversation that the two of you had with regard to that? Because that's what you're suing for.
Right.
You're suing for funeral expenses.
I explained to her that our funeral home never turns anybody away. I offered her a variety of different options, including free. That would have been what's called a Tarrant County burial. It's a dignified manner in which to get somebody buried. We own a cemetery as well as a funeral home. We sponsor, in part, with that program.
Okay. She didn't want to have a free funeral.
Yes, that's correct.
That kind of funeral. That's
That's
correct.
correct.
You wanted a proper burial for your son, which you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but small, but dignified.
Dignified.
But small.
But no ceremony.
But Miss Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
And then who mentioned this fund?
I mentioned the fund once she told me the way that she put it was her son was murdered. I wanted to make sure that she knew that there were options available, including a fund through Tarrant County for any victim of a crime. They would pay up to $5,000.
Okay. And do you have a contract with her?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Because what I assume is you did a funeral for her that she was satisfied with, but ultimately she did not get this grant.
That is correct.
Either because they did not view what happened to her son as murder, because I can't imagine if he was in fact murdered.
Correct.
But it is
The contract you're reading is both for funeral and cemetery.
I got it. Okay, would you show Miss Torres this document, please? That is your signature there, Miss Torres, when it says buyer?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand you have a binding contract with him to pay for the funeral service. You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Okay. So everything was not discussed with Mr. Monty. Everything.
I don't care what was discussed. I have a contract that you signed.
Okay.
The contract is very, very simple. It says that you are purchasing this. I actually understand what happened because they probably, on your behalf, submitted your son's name, etc., to this Victims' Compensation Board for the purposes of them covering the funeral. They decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters of what they do, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your. So why didn't you pay him?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Well, I was paying. He had hired an attorney. I think it was $200 or $300 that I paid to him.
And then why did you stop?
And it's not that I so much stopped. It's that it was getting too hard that my bills weren't fitting with everything else.
But you were prepared, just for my own information, you were prepared to spend $3,000. Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Well, I would have tried to find it from somewhere. I mean, my family.
Right. You owe Mr. Roberts $5,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Are you excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's sad that we had to come to court and do it this way.
Because there's not enough money in this world to bring back my son.
It's a tragic thing that happened.
And of course he has a business to run, but it is right.
There's no winners.
I just know my son's at peace, so.
I'd be honored to help her again in the future if she needed my help.
And I'm even happy for Mr. Monty and what they've done for us.
I appreciate the kind